Mhm. Oh, we want to say happy New Year. It's 2021. We have all reason to be happy. All right? Mhm. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners wherever you are. Thank you for joining us here. I am Afonso Sino right here at the Liberia Public Radio, New England Bureau Desk. Thank you so much for all of your support, and we want to be gracious to the old man. 2020 was a tough one. You know, the pandemic, the disturbance, the lives it has caused globally. To get us to reach out at this point, it's not that you are all special, but it's by the grace of God. And we must acknowledge that. And we want to say thank you so much. It is not over yet. It is deadly. The virus is still out there. So as we come here to have a conversation, we always try to remind you as well to make sure that you stay right on course. In the interest of African solidarity, let's give you this music from neighboring La Côte d'Ivoire.
Tous avec la force pour le développement de Biopé.
All right, thank you. I hope the volume is good. Thank you, Boymount, and all of you folks. And that's what we like here on Liberia Public Radio. We have to make sure to do the best so that we can serve you and we can have the conversation that we need to have. I'm getting down that the volume is okay. Roosevelt, Dual, if you are getting me, my audio is right. Just somebody give me a thumbs up to validate that so that we can get this conversations on the way. I am Afonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. I had to make quick adjustment here to my man Kezo. Kezo, are you hearing me? Please just give me a thumbs up or just write an indication there to know that I'm audible so that we can do what we're supposed to do. Okay, I believe the audio should be good by now, and that's what I'm keeping track here to make sure everything is okay. And I count on you as well to get to know that the audio is okay. So if it is okay, Kezo, just give me a thumbs up so I will know exactly why it is. Well, again, we want to welcome our viewers. Thank you so much, Ambassador Dan, Roosevelt S. Dan. Ambassador Dan, good evening and welcome. Well, folks, we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you for joining us here. Again, I'm Afonso Zienso right here at the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. Well, it was by the grace of God, like I said, for us to be where we are today. Not that we are special, not that we are not corrupt, not that we are not dishonest. We have our own little bit things going on, but it is the divine intervention of God to get us to be where we are. And so getting into 2021, it comes with a lot of responsibility and renew mind as a people, as a nation, as a community, and even as a friends. What is the resolution? So what are we crossing over from 20? Are we bringing those baggages from 2020 to 2021 to us to contaminate society? I hope certainly not. There was a lot of lessons learned. The political landscape in Liberia was a rocky one. We're going to be having our team of analysts and, of course, of our viewers. You always have a share in it because it's about our suffering nation. Our group of analysts is going to be here in a few minutes, and they're going to be, we're going to take a walk to look at 2020 and 2021, to what our prediction could be, to what could be the forecast, what is in their political mind. So we have people here who represent a different political party, no position, imposition, and all of the positions, they are always represented right here on the Liberia Public Radio. And that's the beauty of a news wire. To keep it proportional, to make voices to be heard. We do not sanction voices. We give people the opportunity to be heard, to speak. But we are, however, kind of little aware, or we are aware of the kind of conversation here. And that's one of the things that we find it very difficult because if we try to have a civil conversation, then we will know where we are going as a people and as a nation. It was quite fascinating today. Two interviews that I listened to, one lately on the sister network, Spoon TV, and that of this morning, Representative Akaras Gray. Who is changing tone here? What is happening? Was there any lesson learned? And if there was a lesson learned, would they make up? Would they make it up in 2021? For the first time today, I was told by a top insider to get a glimpse of what happens immediately after the Milton Senatorial elections. And there was an emergency meeting convened, called to order by the president. And there was a lot of dissenting views. We're going to be coming to that. But the president was able to take the bull by the horn as other folks tried to get it in the gutter. And, it would have been a good thing. So I think I must give it to the president. But like I said, the number 2 president of the Republic of Liberia, Her Excellency Chief Dr. Joel Howard Taylor, I spoke was on Spoon TV, Spoon Network. I had a privilege to interview her 2 years ago, right in her own office, a conference room on Capitol Hill in Monrovia. But let's start from in a descendant order. Today, very unusual, someone that I'm not saying who is very vocal. His tone, he was very submissive to camera. He posed himself as an honorable man, and he seems to be speaking to some real core issue that some seditions or supporters, very few, are speaking to. And I'm talking about Representative Akaras Moses Gray. Spoke this morning in the press conference. There was a press conference this morning. And I'm wondering how many of seditions or supporters or pro-government supporters are having this conversation. There seems to be a little bit change in tone. I courtesy it of, I believe, Front Page Africa. I want to be playing that so you can get a sense for those of you who didn't have a chance to see it. Let's go to Akaras Gray. That's not the Akara Gray that I know. Let's go to him. Okay.
It was a challenge. We went through it in 2005. We agreed that we have to take the election for stay at it as an another foundation. Our mission was not to promote or push the country into chaos. So we graciously accepted the results in 2005. We came from it. There was a repeat of history through the protest action, but we then went to the changes of the Republic of Nigeria, the other elections of 1985 and 1997 elections across scales in our country. So now we elect authority, the best thing to do as a party and as a people, with the amalgamation of forces and the constructive coalition, is to do the people's job and do it adequately. But the citizens are great experience for many of us.
The CDC is a great experience. What are some of the reasons that key members of the party are resigning? Like the rise of Phil Dixon, as a branch of the number of people who use this now
some of the conversations are really long. With all fairness, we really established enough. We have a full design. We're going now. But when we were in opposition, people were being good from the opposition community. The CDC was when you back. It took few of us in the vanguard of the show to maintain the existence of the CDC by dealing with the grassroots majority. Also, just putting the theater, crisscross in the country, young people. So we had our brands. I think what we need to do as a political institution, we need to bring everyone back. We have people who are exonerates, who establish exonerates for the party, besides the CDC structure in Nigeria. So we have CDC Europe, for example. We have CDC USA for have Liberians who put their life on the line. They have October, Phil, Lexi, Mama, Collie, etc. I believe that we have to reach out to them. They are very important in the power march of our country. We were there in the revolutionary struggle that brought in this government to power. The disagreements, I don't think they are so big that we cannot resolve. Even the CDC USA chairman, Dr. Dixon, former chairman of the CDC USA, kept the party together after 2005 election. We have to reach out. We have to reach out to our local base. We have to reach out to our international base. We have to solve the data issues as national leader of the Democratic Coalition for democratic change. And that's why I will ask the question, and the question has to be answered through a frank discussion internally within the CDC. We came to power to a coalition and a constructive collaborative efforts. We need to sit and ask ourselves, for example, some of us who came from the Liberty Party, for example, I just live in the party, but then some, for example, former chairman of the Liberty Party, and Musa Ability, for example, a stalwart of the Liberty Party, who endorsed us, for example, a Ben Said, for example, from another political institution, James Cody, the rest of the guys, outside of the coalition and collaborators who endorsed us, who one way or the other contributed to us, in the Senate, our friends who are in the media landscape out there, in the USA or the Southern states, who fought for us. And there is the need for us to reach out, no matter what the situation, no matter what the indifference. It's our time that will bring everybody on board. It's about time that we talk to them. Sometimes, I mean, for the citizens, we talk to them.
Do you think this coalition is going to really consideration the vice president? But now you support of concomitant senatorial candidate?
We have to resolve that, and it has to be resolved immediately. And as we go to the election in 2022, the Democratic Coalition for Democratic Change, we have to do everything to put up this act together. The activities of the though ambassador, we are president, we are the system of the coalition. Remind you, they are still a political institution in the coalition. The NPP, for example, in the coalition, the LPDP in the coalition. We're now talking for the Supreme Council, for example, who is collaborating with the coalition also. So these leaders will have to sit on the table. They have that mandate from the Liberian people. And I will encourage them to sit on the table and resolve whatsoever is in terms of whatsoever disagreement. And within the next 2 to 3 years. That's my public suggestion. Because
Nazi Vice President Joel Ortega
I don't want to say that Vice President Joel Ortega will not be able to go to CDC. Usually the issue of the last number and determination is made by the standard of the party in consultation with the Governing Council of the National Assembly of the coalition. So I just want the coalition leaders in the constitutional political institution. We have to say on the table for the for the frank discussion among itself. The whole issue about the vice president agreement and this agreement will have to be resolved. And that has to be resolved. If that is not resolved, I predict trouble in the future for the coalition. Because the vice president, remember, that's the second most important person in the country in terms of the governance level of our country, in terms of electrical order, even of the Senate. That's the position of the vice president. I mean, yes, the vice president will say it's nominal, but in terms of the Senate, in terms of, that's a former senator also. So what we need to do, we need to sit on the table with the vice president. We need to sit on the table with Eric Scott. We need to sit on the table with Ken Johnson. We need to sit on the table with other people. Even people from the cities who admire the coalition, and recruit them, we bring them to sit on the table and have conversation ideas. Because winning elections in Nigeria, history has shown that there must be a plurality, of political or amalgamation of political forces, not just Congress of Democratic Change, but all of them are collaborating. So it's extremely important, extremely important that in the next 3 months, we have to resolve this. If this is not resolved in the course of this year, I predict trouble in 2022. And people go their several ways, and the new coalition is constructed. all people remain in coalition and forge ahead in one voice and the power march of the country as well.
Honorable Greg, do you think the population from 2005 is still a population as it seems?
I know you'll be running to maybe the just another election. There's a difference between a presidential election and a legislative election around the world. The taste of the Liberian is gradually changing when it comes to legislative election. By 2005, many persons voted on institutional line. Yet nowadays, people are voting for different results. And I'll give you an example. In 2017, we won the election. But in 2017, for example, we won Sano County in an absolute extreme majority. The two representatives that won the Name North seats. We won the presidential election. The two representatives were Name North seats.
Okay, so let's get the program on the way here. I'm Alfonso Zienso. Okay, let's have a conversation here. The Liberal Progressive is standing by from Sacramento, Studio B of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. There he is, the Liberal Progressive from this network. We're going to be joining some of the other folks going to be joining us here. Liberal, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well, Mr. So.
Okay. New Year, New Year, New Year. Is that your New Year clothes, my man?
The what?
Are your New Year clothes you wearing?
Yeah. That dancing season, huh? That my new clothes.
New clothes. Why? You wasn't sure of what you were wearing? I asked a question and you just laughed like that. Okay, so 2020 was a tough one, not just only for our country, but for the whole world in terms of the pandemic. And we see the devastation it has caused for the most part. So I think we have all reasons to be happy. Not that we are happy, others are dead, but for God to take us through. And I surely believe there is a reason why we are reserved in this direction, correct? How can you recap 2020?
Well, 2020 was a time that God gave us, and it's gone. We want to thank God to continue to keep us on here on planet Earth. We appreciate it, and we really, really appreciate it with all His guidance, His mercy. The only thing I can say unto that also is that only God that can do that, because no man can have control of another human being life. And up to this time, say you stay. I think it would have been a devastating situation. With the pandemic, is very serious one. However, God has spared most of our homeland in Africa. I don't know why, but it's not as terrible as it is in the Western world. And I'm not saying that we're happy about that, but I'm just saying God is just wonderful. However, let's hope that it's continuing to remain the way it is, because any kinds of changes, if they start going south on us, many of the countries in Africa are not prepared for this. The way they did devastation that is happening in the Western world, many of the hospitals in West Africa, or even in Liberia, let's be specific, cannot handle this kinds of influx of patients coming in. They don't have the capacity. And so, in fact, right now, one person gets sick, the next thing to do is to fly the person to Ghana. The military hospital, I do not believe, have the kind of capacity to be able to take in the influx of patients. Showing that becomes real. So I am very grateful to God for sparing our people so far. But I think to me that this 2020, our leadership perhaps are not taking this thing the way it's supposed to be. And I hope this time around they will start picking up so that they will do their best, so in case this thing turns around.
Okay, we seems to have a crowded house now. Crowded house in the sense of our own people that took off time from time to time to keep the industry of the Liberia Public Radio going. Senior contributors, analysts, as usual. Professor Asese Labotazawo is a senior contributor of Liberia Public Radio. Doing an extraordinary job. I don't know how you guys managing his time. He's heavily engaged in Liberia. Get other things going on here. And of course, our own contributor, Mr. Benson Mason, is also here. Professor, good evening.
Mr. So, before you leave, please, Mr. So, before you leave, please give all of us, the three of us that are on here, Pat Josh is going to be joining us later, take a hat off to us, because we're keeping your job alive. So please recognize that we're keeping your jobs going on LPR. So please recognize that.
Oh, this guy, he always like. So all the while I was telling you, say thank you. What you want? You want me to bribe you? You want Kado? Tell me.
Just recognize it, that these people are giving me my job, and because of them, I'm continuing to work at LPR. Recognize that.
But is that how we're going to start this 2021 something, please? Mr. To Bloku, please, the liberal. I say Professor Zablo doing an extraordinary job. He's contributing here, providing knowledge here. He's engaged with the educational program in Liberia. He's taking off his time. Should I speak crown? I should put it in crown?
No, all of these people you're naming, they are all traditional Liberians. So when they come on traditionally, what we do, when these high power people come on your show, you introduce them with music, traditional music. So at least the spirit will be on there. That way, you appreciate us keeping you working. That's my point.
All right, the music will come. We get our folks. The music will come in due course. Okay, Professor. Again, I want to say happy New Year, and thank you for all what you are doing, not just only for this institution, but for our country, because it is important that we have these sort of conversations, and we must respect people's views, opinions, and as well. We would disagree, but hey. That's the order of the day. Thank you so much, and happy New Year.
Yeah, the same from here. Thank you very much, and happy New Year to you, to the Liberal Progressive, and to Mr. Mason.
Okay, so let me go. All right, let me go to Mason on the other end here. Mr. Mason, good evening. Happy New Year.
Thank you, Mr. So. Happy New Year to you and everybody else. The Liberal Progressive. Professor,
thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, so we're going to start the conversation going here, and as usual, 2020 was kind of crazy one in its context. Whether you are for or against, whatever party you with, everybody got a piece of the share. So. Let's look at 2020 here. Some of those things that we really kind of tough for us to go through, and most of it are going to be into the political content. But let's just inject the human side of it here. The liberal, how was the 2020 with you?
Well, 2020 was wonderful. As an individual, a family man, I want to thank God that if we all are doing well, we thank God for the blessing, and all the kids, the wives, everybody's doing well. The family back home doing well, and I just want to bless God and say thank you, Jesus, for the mercy. Can you imagine a man was in control of Samson's whole life? Jesus Christ. But the man is not in control. God is in control. God have mercy on all of us. One of the best things God continue to do for us, he doesn't pick and choose. He just provides the mercy blanket all over us. And they fit all of us. And I want to appreciate God for that.
Mercy?
Well, I thank God for this year. It has been a challenge. sometimes people see the smile, they see the things that they don't see the things that you go through. And God has kept me and my family through this epidemic. This pandemic. And I'll tell you the truth, it's only God, because my wife had to start working from home. She's been working from home since I don't know when, and she still works from home. That helps when they took the children out of school. That helped my wife to stay home and be home and look at the kids. At the same time, she's working. I kept going to work. But the bottom line is that no member of my family was attacked by this pandemic. Our financial started to dwindle, but God put it back online, and it started to work fine. Things started to go, and things are on course. So there's nothing we can do but tell God thank you. It's not because of what I did, it's because of what God did for us. So me and my family will forever grateful to God for all His mercy and His provision. It was
Okay. All right. Okay. And that's what we want to hear. We want people to be in good health. Of course, the senior contributor from Atlanta, Georgia, where there will be a heavily contested race. Oh, Lebron, you see your own shadow. Why are you laughing? Something. You talk about Georgia, I think coming tonight, eh?
I thought I was going to have the upper hand here tonight, but apparently, we'll see. We'll see.
George, happy New Year, and good to see you. We thank God we all kind of greatly roll over to 2021. So how are you today? How was the New Year? How you spend the day so far?
Oh, great. And let me say Happy New Year to Mr. Toe, Professor Zaro, and Mr. Benson, along with you and the rest of your family.
All right. And why not we say Happy New Year to our folks, people that are taking time to be with us as well.
Oh, yes. Happy New Year to the people that follow us.
Okay. So, the dominant conversation in today's war is politics. I don't know. It might sound a little bit ridiculous here. I don't know if Mr. Benson whether he has a political tie or associating with any political party. That I don't know. But the Labour there, he's a diehard Liberty partisan, US based, no membership for Liberia. Yet and still, he's still talking. His vote doesn't count. He didn't campaign for anything. All his soundbite right from Sacramento, from Nessus Police, right here to LPR, and people all around here. And of course, we have Professor Zaro, who is a strong heart, who believes in the work of the ruling establishment, CDC. Mr. George.
Independent.
Independent?
Yeah.
Okay, I will see what up. Maybe I don't know what up, Professor Zaro will agree with that. But okay, Nathan, do you care to disclose who you are?
100% independent.
Independent. Two independent. Okay. Yeah, anyway, there are some independent candidates in the place here. Okay, so I see that you guys gonna play that sort of neutral role here. Let me see what Professor Zaro and Toe we agree. We will come to that, but I'm wondering here, which one of you guys listened to the VP today, the Vice President today on the sister network Spoon TV, Akaras Gray as well. I don't know whether it was a coincidence with those two here. Any of you guys had an opportunity? I will try to play it. I will just play it Akara Gray. I will just put the audio back on here for you guys to listen to very briefly here. Let me play this here.
Some of the conversations with all fairness, the ruling party should not be having to return. When we were in opposition, people were being put from the opposition community. The whole few of us, the rundown of shows the continued existence of the CDC and leading the branch of serious theater, put trust in the country as human beings. So we had our grounds. I think what we need to do as a political institution, we need to bring everyone on. We have people who are observers, who establish observers. discuss the CDC structure in Nigeria. We have CDC Europe, for example. We have CDC USA, for example. We have Liberian Super the Life and the Life. All right, we have October, Film, let's say, etc. I believe that we have to reach out to them. We are very important in our march of our country. We were there in this particular struggle, brought in this call from the fire. The disagreements, I don't think they are so big that we cannot resolve. Hearing CDC USA chairman, chairman, and CDC USA kept that together after 2005 election. We have to reach out.
Okay, for the most part here, that's just a little bit of it, but it gives all the sightings where this guy is going. To anybody who is a political junkie, first of all, it was quite amazing to see it, Representative Akara's Gray. He's one of those sort of combative type of person in terms of how he tried to reinforce his message, but he kept focused, and he was focusing on the camera. We need to reach out. People like that. When politician uses the word, for example, they are trying to consolidate their position. There seems to be there's a good lost people out there. Professor, he is from your party. I'm not sure whether you are listening to all in it context, but to see a to be so quiet, looking in the eyes of the camera, it suggests to me that indeed there was a hate and there's a need that they find a common ground with other folks.
I listened to it. He was on KMTV. He was speaking with a young man, I think Amos Momo. I know the young man. I've already been. He's hosted me on his show, KMTV morning show. And I think the conversation was very frank. It was a conversation I know that many citizens are having at home on the breakfast and the dinner tables. He was on point. I think he affirms and reiterated some of the things I've been saying here for the last couple of weeks, that the CDC has to go through a period of soul searching, whether it wants to remain the masses party or whether it wants to dissolve that characterization. Obviously, what Representative Gray spoke about are things that we all know to be true. There's a disenchantment, discontentment, dissatisfaction within the ranks of the CDC, moving from the grassroots to the very top. A lot of people feel dejected. They feel they were used. They feel they have been violated. They feel that they have been ignored. And he spoke about the need to go back to the place from whence we came. When, for example, the CDC USA was playing a very important role in the CDC. For those outside who may not know, the CDC Liberia, so to speak, was doing the groundwork. A lot of the propaganda, the international connections, the international exposure was being led by the CDC USA. I, for one, was the contact person of CDC to the world. I had conversations with organizations like BBC, privately and publicly, many other media institutions. They reached out to me, they engaged me, and we were the ones who came in and began to change the message and change the comprehension of CDC internationally. I still remember a conversation we had with one former official of the U.S. government, wherein she was being very dismissive about CDC's ability to run Liberia. And at the end of the day, when that conversations were over, she confided in us that we had basically changed her mindset about the party. And those in that conversation were people who came from the CDC USA. So Representative Grace talking about actually, things that we need to get back. The CDC USA has been marginalized. And I'll tell you, part of it has to do with the kind of leadership we have in CDC USA. We have a very incompetent and inept leadership in CDC USA. So there's a need to revisit that. I know we're going to be having an election shortly, I think in February. hopefully that issue will be resolved where we're putting the more vibrant leadership. But the marginalization of CDC USA for many, not necessarily for me, started with the formation of the government. They felt that, for example, the chairman of the party at that time, Mr. Arthur Zakama, wasn't included in government. Mr. Isaac Batuba wasn't included in government. They were looking at people like Mr. J. Kalakwa Howard, a professional engineer based in the Michigan area, who wasn't included in our government. They were looking at people like Barney Conley, who wasn't included in our government. And there were many others that many very active members of CDC USA who were not in the government. And then on the grounds in Liberia, what the young people observed was that certain individuals who had, on many occasions, criticized the president, criticized the CDC, put in Liberian words, badmouth the president and the CDC, those people are sent into government. I just said the last thing. A young man, he was in the leadership of the CDC USA when the government was being formed. And I mean, I'll just quote his words, what he told me. I'm not trying to put myself in a position, but I'll just quote the man's word directly. I was on my way to Philadelphia, driving in my car along with my wife. And a young man called and told me, he said, "Professor, I'm going to Liberia. I have to go and fight for a job." He said, "I did not want to work in government. But the people who have been placed in government would not give me scholarship. If I went to the Ministry of Education, for example, I wouldn't see you, who know me, who know my contribution to the party. You wouldn't be there. The people they have right there now, I don't know them. So I don't see any chance of me getting a scholarship. So even though my initial plan was to, rename port, go back to Liberia and see if I could get a scholarship to advance myself, I'm going to Liberia now to get a job." The young man went to Liberia and he fought his battle. He's now in government. But that young man's assertion is the assertion of a lot of young people in Liberia who feel that they're not connected with the ministers and other government officials. And those government officials are also not displaying any loyalty to the party, to the president, to the government. They are not in the community. The president even spoke about that in his church today and called on some of them to change. Was it yesterday, right?
Yeah,
Last night, call on some of them to change. If you're not connecting with your people, you got to connect with your people. So those are the kind of sentiments within the party. I'm sorry to be long, but
yeah.
So Representative Gray, he encapsulated the feeling, the sentiments among many partisans, and I hope those who are have the ears to listen heard the message. There's a need to change.
Before I go to the next person here, you call a lot of names, and quite late, I'm a testimony. You appear on this network several ways I had before started being contributor, and you spoke on a lot of major international cable wire to articulate the government position. I didn't hear your name. Is that on purpose or what?
I'll be very honest with you. When I joined the CDC, one of the things that I told the party was that I wasn't interested in going home. I have to be very honest with you. I did not attend the inauguration, if you don't know it, but I did not attend the inauguration. There was a huge wave of citizens going to Liberia for the inauguration, many of whom were interested in, being placed in government. I was not in that group. I did not go home. So I had no intention initially of getting into government. And in the spirit of honesty, when I saw the government being formed, that was when I was told that, "Prof, you have to want to come home. We need you." And so at some point I committed, I accepted that, if I'm appointed, I will come home. But I've never been so sold out on going to Liberia to work. I think I can serve the party from here. I don't necessarily have to be in the grounds to serve. Having said that, look, if the president finds it necessary one of these days, and is interested in me coming home, I'll go home. I know the president, and I have to say this publicly. I know that the president has repeatedly reserved a place for me, and at the appropriate time, he will let the people know what he has reserved for me. But I know and trust that what he's indicated that he's a man of his word and he would do it. But I'm in no rush to go to Liberia.
All right, appropriate player reserve. We are hearing stop inside around the corridor of the anniversary of the inauguration. There's a major tourism for something going to be happening. But let me go to Delibera. Delibera, are you there?
Yes, I am, Mr. So.
Okay. So I believe you listened to Carlos Gray and partly to the vice president today. And Carlos Gray, that I know during his interviews, he's always he comes back at the journalists conducting interview, but he plays himself in a very diplomatic setting today. He was kind, he was focused, he kept his eyes, he kept using what caught my attention. For example, when politicians deploy such a word, they are trying to find a common ground. They are trying to reach beyond their borderline. Would that happen, or is just a talking studio thing that Carlos Gray, Representative Gray, is putting out there? Do they have that courage to reach out to those people? And Professor Zawa is right. There were a lot of people left in the cold who were in the vanguard with the CDC. For whatever reason, they were left by the wayside. Would they do that? Do you think so?
Well, thank you, Mr. So. Let me just make this point as well, for the information that is. I also attended the inaugural program, but I didn't go there for a job, as you know, Mr. So. I went there as a journalist, to be honest with you, and I was given the privilege to be out doing my work, interviewing people, being in the mix of a huge Liberian crowd. So excited about a young man taking the matter to lead. Now, going back to Representative Gray, whatever you want to call it today, for me, it has two settings. Let's put it this way. First, here in America, the politician here, if you hear someone who is so close to the executive, even though he's in the legislature, but he's very close to the executive. If you hear them making such a statement as Mr. Arnold Gray did on his interview, you will first think that he has had conversation with the president, and therefore perhaps there was certain agreement that whatever he puts out there, that the president is quite aware of it. However, we're talking Liberia. So I'm not too sure if Mr. Gray was speaking off the cuff and in isolation with respect to the entire executive branch, because they have power brokers in the executive as well. Now, Mr. Gray didn't come in just because he most likely saw finance minister making a big blunder on the show yesterday, on Spoon TV yesterday, where the minister reaffirmed what Mr. Toh has been saying all along, that these people have put Dr. Weah in the bubble, and he demonstrated that. And I will go through with that sometime, where he accused Honorable Samuel Jackson of being someone who undermined the president, or being someone who does not have the interests of the Liberian people. So when you make those kinds of assumptions in public of such an honorable person that some of us know, and to come out and make that kinds of statement, you're now in public. Before they used to do it in the back, looking for the enemy of the state. But now in public, you have accusing Mr. Samuel Jackson of being an enemy of the state, thereby trying to. And that question came about, interestingly, they asked him a question. If you're Mr. George right now, Mr. President George Weah, what will you do to Samuel Toh? Will you fire him? And that's how he started beating around the bush. But one of the interesting things also on Toh interview, he refused to understand, or not even understand, but to accept that he needs help. And I think from that context, Mr. Gray is saying that the people need help. I'm not too sure why he veered towards the agriculture minister, making the comments he made about her. I don't know much about the $20 million issue, but I think Mr. Gray perhaps felt frustrated that the minister is not moving in, and he stated that the minister is incapable of moving his country by himself, so he's going to need help. The interesting question now is, was that some comment in consultation or have had some sort of a conversation with the president, who is the head of the executive, and the green light was given for Mr. Gray to come in public and make such a statement about the minister?
Okay, I see the professors working there, but let me give opportunity to Pa George and that of Missing. Pa George,
Yeah.
do you think CDC going to learn? Is it from this ended elections, or this guy, is he just sent out there to do the dirty work?
That's just mere rhetoric from Honorable Gray. Gray is one of the guys who is very polarizing in Liberian politics if you follow him. Very polarized human being. This is the guy who instigated the removal of Cabinet Janet. This very Gray guy. Today now he talking, let me see, anyway, but let me see to reach across the aisle. I don't know what he's talking about, going to reach the opposition or to sedition in America and those in Liberia. So I don't know which group he's talking to. So that's one point. The issue here, everybody's singing this song. Gray did not consult President Weah to come to make that interview. Look, the party is divided, CDC. Akaya Gray, Moba Molu, Jefferson Koji, that's another group. Samuel Tuer, Nataya Mange, that's another group. That's how they operate. And you saw when Moba Molu made that statement, it was Akaya Gray, Jefferson Koji, and came to Moba Molu rescue when he was speaking about the president. It was Gray, Jefferson Koji, they came to rally around Moba Molu. Samuel Tuer, not Samuel Tuer then. So the guy, it's not that they consult the president to come on. No, they can't just come on and make a statement. If he asks you, say, I'm speaking as a representative. If you consult the president before coming out to make that statement, that is the attitude. But the summit issue, the interview is there. I don't know, maybe we'll do it later. But the vice president, I told you people before, the party, that coalition is divided. It will not hold. If you listen to the vice president today, what she's saying, it will not hold. And moreover, I heard about 2022, that when the coalition will end. According to this, she said that's the agreement they have going to the election. So there is a problem within CDC, along with those are involved in the code that make up the coalition. So for Mr. Gray talking about I think Mr. Gray was referring to this in China situation in Liberia and that of the USA. But the last time, after the last election, the election that Dylan, when he was completing the term of that, right after election, they had a meeting. They brought somebody from America, one of the, I think, as if I talk about somebody that went to Liberia. They had a conference that came up with a proposal. They adopted us and they said, these are the things we want to work on. What happened to it? There's a split within the party. Those who are in Liberia, let me say it, they have some envy for people for those situations that are in America. They figure that the people from America, when they go, they will be sidelined in Liberia. That is the fear right now they have. But I'm hoping and praying to see where professors I will go in to make that change. Let me see how much support you will get from the party as a whole. I'm hoping to see that.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. Missing. You've been listening here. Let me give you a task here to perform a political surgery. You heard from what the Liberal Progressive said. Pa George came on here, swear out here for me. Akaya Gray, does it sound authentic today?
With what has just happened, the by-election, the senatorial by-election, given Representative Gray facing re-election in 3 years, should he gamble it? Should he gamble it? I mean, I'm sorry, Professor Zauro, let's be honest. Aquarius Gray is now trying to campaign. He knows that he cannot win on CDC if he depends on CDC like he did before. So now he sees that the Liberian people are looking and they are asking, what did you do? Then before they ask, what will you do? Aquarius is at the crossroad right now. All that he said, those are good things and good proposals, but he knows his party not going to obey it. They're not going to reach across the aisle. He knows that, but he got to please the Liberian people. Going forward, Aquarius Gray's message is going to be different. In all that Aquarius Gray said, there was that one thing that came out of his mouth, discrediting the president, discrediting Samuel Twe, discrediting Molu, or discrediting McGee. He did not do that. No. He was only saying, look, we need to reach across the aisle. We need to reach down to our people that we promise that we're going to lift them up from poverty. Yeah, we agree. Of course, you have been there for the past 3 years. What was that message not said? What was it not said? It was not said because that was not the aim, and that was not the aim driving the party. So his statement is really grandstanding. It's nothing that people should buy into right now. Aquarius is running his. I know, brothers. Professor Zaolo, you want to say? I know you say something, but if his business, on the other hand, if Aquarius means business, we will see the trend of his attitude and his action. Okay, we will see him pushing that within the Senate. I mean, within the House of Representatives, and that's where we're going to know where he's going. But for now, what I see him doing is making his case for his re-election. That's what Aquarius, the Honorable Gray, is doing. So let us not buy into this sentiment too early. He spoke of inclusion, bring people from, bring everybody in. And Brother George said it straight on the head top. You leave from here, you go to Adura now. For Zauro, they will be on you, and the people, some people will not want you to become whatever position they gave you. You will have people who don't want you to take it. They will be saying what you do for the party because they don't know you. They don't know your contribution. Like you said, when the government came to establish the government and appoint the ministers, they should have had a vetting group, consultative vetting group. Discuss those people, discuss with them. Let those people give you a feedback on who you can put, where you can put them. Other than that, where we are, you can't do that inclusion. You cannot do that inclusion.
All right. Missing through another thing completely that I'm being caught on guy here. Professor, George were talking, and I saw you, the conversation was going in your direction. Ben Saint, he has added insult into injury. Say, you know what? This guy is trying to fight for his own political survival. He's trying to get records straight right now. He's still going through post recovery. He said he was going to, if they were going to lose, he would not run, he would not do this, all of those things there. He tried to semi out now to do the sort of brush over so that the media would not even focus on that, because my guess is one of his major that's one of the major appearances since after this year. What would you disagree with Papa George?
Well, I think all of them had some truth into what they said, but then there were also instances where the facts differ from what they laid out. And so let me engage those areas where the facts were aberration, where they are not, their assertion was an aberration of the facts. First and foremost, I want to dismiss the idea here that CDC did not have a vetting committee in the process of forming the government. There was a vetting committee. There was extensive work being done. There was a several spreadsheets laid out of the different positions in government, and there was a proposed names of people who possibly occupy those seats. First, second, third preferences for each position in government. And so that process there was something put in place, for that. So let me quickly establish that they didn't just go about taking people here and there. Now, did those forming the government stick to the plan? Obviously not. The second thing I wanted to talk about was that Representative Gray, perhaps maybe my colleagues here tonight may not have been following him very closely. But nothing that Representative Gray said is anything strange. I don't see grandstanding in it because, one, Representative Gray has been one of the champions within the legislature for the reductions in the salary that benefits compensation to members of the legislature. He's championed that. That is a major issue for most Liberians. If we can reduce the amount of budgetary allocation to the legislature, we could create fiscal space, for example, to hire more teachers, more nurses, and provide better social services for the people. And Representative Gray was a champion of that. In fact, he negotiated with his colleague on the other side of the aisle to come to an agreement for that to be passed. And it was very successful in reducing the compensation and benefits for members of the legislature. The second thing about Representative Gray is that the issue of Representative Gray calling on the government, to those in government, to seriously consider reaching across the party to bring in more seditions, especially his continuous call for members of CDC USA to be included in government. It's not anything new. If you recall, he posted on his Facebook page about a year or a year and a half ago a message to the president in which he basically told the president, take these actions. You have to do something. Because trust me, if you don't do it, if it fails, only you will be held responsible. So Representative Gray has been speaking out, in all of these things. So it's not grandstanding. Lastly, I wanted to say here is that the issue about a need for inclusion at all levels, not just from the CDC, USA, and other foot soldiers of the party, but all across the country to create an effective and efficient government is something that most progressive-minded seditionists have shared last couple of months. Some of us have been sharing it for years, that we needed to do X, Y, and Z so that our government can be stronger, efficient, and better. I mean, no normal person will want to keep the present government, with everybody in the same position they are in right now. No normal person, because and I know it's not working. It has not worked in so many aspects. The last thing I wanted to touch on is the issue of the agriculture minister. Look, many seditionists have been very critical of the agriculture ministers. And there were some of us who have been saying, give her a chance. But I think I'm reaching the point where I will want to join the chorus of other seditionists out there who want to say it's about time the agriculture minister deliver or she vacate her position. Look, there hasn't been anything meaningful from the Ministry of Agriculture. She came with so much fanfare and there was so much noise about what she would do and what she would accomplish. There's nothing she's done so far to me that shows that she's going to be any better 1 year from now, 2 years from now, or even 3 years from now. So I think I share his sentiment, but it's just not the agriculture minister. There's a host of other ministers that, when I joined the CDC and I saw that the CDC was coming to power. By this time, for example, I would have expected the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunication, working in collaboration with the Ministry of Public Works, to have host numbering systems in Liberia so that people can be able to easily locate families and relatives, when they want to go home or try to find their places. We've seen nothing in that direction. I would have loved to see a central bank working in collaboration with the Ministry of Finance that will provide more loans to empower Liberian, small business owners. There's not much in that direction. So those people responsible for that have to either shake up or be shifted up, because those things are very important for our economy to grow. We need to empower the local farmers. We need to empower the marketers. We need to empower the people who are doing small businesses. That's the strength of a third world economy, which is mostly informal. And so, yes, I don't see Representative Akara's Gray's assertion as being grandstanding. I think he's on point. He is just expressing what many citizens and many other Liberians love to see. Look, let me tell you something. When it comes to CDC, sometimes people make a mistake and talk about CDC as a party that doesn't have a lot of educated people supporting it. Look, the number of sound, educated people who have reached up to me to express their commitment to our party is astounding. It's astounding. The problem is that we're not reaching out to those people. And whenever those people reach up to me, I communicate it. I said, look, guess what? It's this person who's coming on. What can we do? We got to find a way to bring some of those people on. We have head on.
Professor Zawo, if I may ask you.
Let me see. Are you there, Prof?
Yeah, I'm here. I didn't hear the question.
Oh, I want to know from you.
Yeah.
I don't know who or maybe honestly, I heard people saying about the level of education people in CDC and this and that. That is, people have said that, but I don't buy into it. Because if I buy into it, you won't be here talking about CDC. So I will not buy into it.
Yeah.
But the question to you, if all these people are reaching out to you, why not go to Monrovia to be closer to the president so you can bring these people on board?
You want to buy my ticket?
If I want my ticket, I just ask you. I just ask you because you have all these people who you think, that can really move the country forward, not just CDC that can move the country forward. And today they have people that things are not working rightly. Now my question to you. That means, okay, now you're going to Morocco, but I think you have influence. Why not talk to the government to bring these people on board to move the country forward? What is the whole on?
And I've been doing that. I've been doing that exactly. I've been sending information. I've been communicating to the powers that be. And here's the thing, our country is a peculiar country. I had the opportunity today to work with my staff. And the reason I bring these things is that sometimes these supposed of the larger society. So I had the opportunity to work with my staff we were planning the school year, which starts on January 4th. And one of the documents I wanted us to do was a documentary activity for the school for the whole year. And so my staff told me, no, Mr. Zawo, we shouldn't do that because those things then the way we do it when we're going on, then we decide we can do this one, decide we can do that one, decide we can do that one. Our country is not, because we don't run our country the way civilized organizations or institutions run, unfortunately. Some of these things you talk about that we try to do is new to the people. And so it requires time to get them to understand and appreciate some of these things. And that's what some of us are doing. We've been patient. Continue to do the things that we do. I'm very positive that those individuals will be brought into government and some fresh ideas will come. It's just that our people do things differently. I'll tell you one thing. I have been a strong advocate of a creation of two ministries. One ministry I've asked the people to create, the Ministry of Science and Technology. The second thing I've always asked for to create is an office within this Ministry of State that will be responsible for evaluating the performance of officials of government. And most of the time, the people tell me that, oh, you had a director of the cabinet doing it. And so here's my thing to most people when I tell them, I say, listen, if the director of cabinet is supposed to be doing it, and you and I know that not much good is coming from all of those people. That means either he hasn't been doing his job, or she hasn't been doing her job, or maybe the system is broken, and so we have to fix it. Now, you know, our country is not built that way. Look at simple things that's supposed to happen immediately. It takes years to happen, which is sad. So I understand your frustration. I understand, you know, your suggestion that I should be there making the suggestion. We make those suggestions. It requires time. We gotta be patient. Look, the CDC has no option. You either accept those recommendations or get ready to lose power in 2023. Very clear.
And I think you were crystal today on that. Missing.
You know, Professor Zao, you touched a key point when you spoke about a vetting committee. But the question is, what good is a vetting committee who does the work and nobody follow it? Then what you got it for? So simply that CDC got plans, but they will never implement the plan because they don't even follow what they want to do. They don't even follow what they set up people to do. You see, that's my problem I got with CDC-led government. That's a problem all through the time. And like the other time I was listening to the progressive when he was the labor progressive when he was going through the pro-poor agenda. You got good plans that when you implement it, it gives you credibility. It gives you it gives you scores. It puts you on top. But you are not implementing those plans. When will you implement those plans? When you got 1 year left? When will you tell those people to put them in the position to start to work? The moment they get there, they got to clean a mess. Before they finish cleaning the mess, to put the government on power, they got to start leaving. But I mean, all due respect, but I will tell you the truth. When it comes to Aquarius Gray, and it's not making anything that we didn't know, and that he's not speaking anything new. Everybody has said this thing from time immemorial. Either you get an inclusion, but this thing that is going on in CDC, this split, this backering, this backbiting, this envy and jealousy, is the one destroying the party. It's the one destroying our country. That's the bottom line. That's my point, is our country. Who will implement all the brilliant things? Look at you talk about putting an evaluator, people who will sit in the ministry or in an agency and evaluate work of these ministers. Who, and CDC doesn't start it, somebody will come and start it. Who should start it? Why can't the buck start with us who's in leadership?
I agree.
Why can't it start with us in leadership? You talk about Aquarius Gray, the honorable man, championing the cause of the reduction in the salary. He was in the legislature 6 years before Darius Dillon got there. Nobody knew how much the legislature made. How can he be championing something that he's not telling the public? But now today we might agree that he was championing it. But brother, you gotta convince us. You gotta look. I love the way you do. I'm not speaking. I would say the same thing for any government that come in and cause the mess. My interest is the people. I would say it any day. He fought for it. He did not reduce his salary. We did not know how much Aquarius Gray was making. Up until now, we still don't know how much Aquarius Gray made. But we know what the senator makes. Because Darius Dillon told us what senator made. What representative made. Nobody know. It's still in the society push. So can you convince us on a place how, in what way he champion that reduction in salary when it still hasn't happened yet?
It has happened. It has happened. There was a harmonization of salaries and benefits. I think that cut about 33% of the benefits and salaries to legislators. I don't know whether you're aware of that. So it's there. Now, besides, when I talk about Representative Gray championing this cause for the reduction of salary, it didn't start with this administration. It started from the day he entered the House of Representatives. Now, on the issue about whether people knew how much representatives made or how much senators made, I don't know whether that's a very fair statement to say that Darius Dillon, he was the one who exposed it. I think he shined some light on it. I don't think he was the one who exposed it. I've always known basically how much the members of the House of Representatives and the Senate earn. Besides that, we have the Freedom of Information Act. Any Liberian can evoke and seek information and clarity on those things. Yeah.
Can I ask a question? May I ask a question? Just a
Yeah.
question. Professor Zaulo, can you tell us how much the president makes?
The president of the Republic of Liberia. Is he in the Constitution? Is he a leader in the Constitution?
But Professor Zaulo, let me say this. Okay, no.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. It's getting interesting now. It looks like these guys are trying to gang against. I was of a hope that maybe you're gonna.
No, it's fine. It's perfect.
I come here.
So more progressive on the side. That's why he's in the background, not saying anything. He's gonna come after that.
My guess here, I've seen Liberal on the phone that's sending text now. He's being friendly with Pat George and missing right now.
No.
They say that we're gonna let him know. Let him go. So Liberal.
Yes.
So, a minute. Is this guy, what his name said, Akara Gray? Is he trying to be a fixer here now? Is that a direction he's going? Those things for people don't want to talk about. Hey, let me be the first to jump out here and say, hey, with courage, he's not facing the camera. He's been vocal. He's calling names, people that were left by the wayside. I don't know when he got to know that. How long? What happens if the senatorial race is so devastating that's put hole in the in their political jacket? I gone the way they wish. I'm not sure whether Akara Gray will even come before this network to talk all they are talking. Is he taking the role as a fixer, or what is he? What is he trying to portray? To be the deal maker here?
Well, thank you, Mr. So. This is a new year. And I think we have to come into the new year with perhaps new attitude. However, as a liberal progressive, I'm not here this afternoon where you guys kumbaya trying to pacify the professor. That's not what I'm about to do. I'm not here sitting here and feeling sorry for the professor and a lot of sedition that was left behind of people who have not actually sacrificed for this party, and they allow themselves to be pushed aside by people like McGill, and you want me to sit here and sympathize with Professor and the people and the highly educated sedition that I've left behind? I'm not going to do that. So I'm not here with your kumbaya, Professor, can you do this? No, Professor, you left behind because you guys want to be left behind. Simple as that. Now, let me go on. Let me go on to, folks, if you haven't seen yet, watch within the next 6 months. You will see the complete breakdown of CDC. Sedition have no whatever. They have no plan. I've always stated that sedition are not disciplined. First of all, there's no any secret about it. And they're going to display that here very shortly. They got whooped, and now instead of them to come back and say, let's revisit ourselves, because they have some educated sedition who has the ability to put this thing back together. But they're going to let Samuel Twe and McGill to run this thing here, run it through the ground. You know what happened to, if you've been following Facebook recently, what's his name? Eugene Fagon. He's now hanging on to the coattail of McGill. Happy birthday, McGill. McGill is alive. All kinds of stuff. Eugene Fagon is not even doing most of the talking for the Liberian government except for McGill now. So there's a group of people that are there that are trying to protect themselves. Listen to this kinds of conversation they had with Samuel Twe yesterday. Samuel Twe, I keep saying to you guys, a very, very smart guy. However, not only is he smart, but he's very condescending to everyone that tried to question whatever he's doing. He don't want you to question it. When you question him, he comes about moving the ball around with all these adjectives of English, grammar from the economic books and other kinds of that. Who in total know about reconciling the book between the central bank? Tell us what the money is. He's not telling you that. So
It's
those
in the
are the
budget.
kinds of people you have in CDC. And to allow uneducated people like Professor Zagro, who fought hard for CDC to be to where they are today. And then, out of a second, you have these people sitting back. Mr. So, I'm sorry, many of you were not in Liberia. I was in Liberia during the inaugural, and I knew most of the, Mr. So, you know what I'm talking about. Many of the sedition, high-ranking sedition, I went to the place. The night of the inaugural, the CDC and the Liberian diaspora had their own ball, where the president was invited. Of course, Baku was invited, but I'd say I don't want to be part of that because I know exactly what was going to happen. Then we went there. The next day, the complete Pure passed McGill. McGill was not allowed. Who is McGill for people not to talk to Dr. Weir? This is a scene Dr. Weir that used to come here and meet in over there, Minnesota, and allow Liberian to express himself free. Why is it not that because he's president, they can't, this sedition? Dr. Weir is quite aware of the contribution of diaspora sedition. Dr. Weir is quite aware of how hard these seditions in the diaspora work. And then you have this sedition mouthpiece platform going around singing song all day. And those are people you think you go. If you want your position as a sedition, you have to say it. You have to say it. But if you don't expect sympathy from something to ain't coming nowhere. And God is with me, by the way. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Professor,
I don't think you see this one coming though. From
No,
some
well, I thought he was reserving himself just to come and stick on my side, but then he surprised me. But anyway, you know the meaning of Libra is free. It can float. It can change. So
I just want to inform the Liberal that Samuel Tuer said that the money is in the bush.
I understand.
Samuel Tuer saying he asked him where's the money. Liberal. Samuel Tuer said you got the money in total. That's where the money is.
Yeah.
But Samuel Tuer was very.
Let me.
This guy is arrogant.
Yeah.
When I listened to him yesterday, he's very arrogant and condescending when people try to ask him.
Yeah.
You are this advisor to the president, the physical advisor to the president and the cabinet.
Yeah.
And there's a liquidity problem in the country. Come to tell the Liberian people what are happening and how you're going to solve the problem. And they're asking this man, how can you fix the problem now? The people don't have confidence within the system. $4 billion that was infused into the economy. The money cannot be found. So Samuel Tuer is saying that he doesn't have nothing to do with the central bank. As a minister of finance, he said he doesn't have anything to do with the central bank. So the question answered, if that money was infused into the economy, what happened to it? The paper board don't keep money home because the paper board have to take the money, go buy gasoline. They take it to the gas store, the gas station to buy thing. The people in the book got to come to the market to buy goods from the people who sell, and these people go to the stores and things. Then he's talking about the money is in the diamond mine. So is that an answer to the problem that we are facing now? A liquidity problem?
I think
When did he realize that this problem was coming? When last? And what did they put in place? He cannot
okay,
speak.
let me bring in Professor Zagro here. And before you just to bucket all that. One of the interesting things yesterday, I was listening to him. He said he's no longer on the economic team, correct? You listened to that? He was removed. So it means whatever CBO is doing now, but he didn't say it, why he was removed and all of that. Professor, do you think it's a wrong allegation or say it's a wrong indictment here on the minister that the Liberal now is leading that conspiracy? He's now having friendship with Emma Joy, but believe me, in the next 2 minutes, they're going to fall apart because Pat George too can stand the liberal. The liberal, you can't rely on him on anything. He will turn right on Amos George and Benson here. You just watch this conversation so they can't come from my mouth. Is that a conspiracy? Is that a ploy against the minister?
No, look, let me say this. Look, the situation in Liberia is tough. And the people of Liberia have all right to feel the way they feel and to express what they are expressing right now. Even the liberal progressive is right to be expressing what he's expressing. Every one of you here tonight is right to be expressing the things that they are expressing. There is a serious liquidity issue in the country, and it behooves the Minister of Finance to take the lead in finding resolution to that problem. And I'm very positive. I know the minister. I didn't listen to the interaction. Minister Tue have been unfairly criticized by a lot of people. And as a young man, he's been unfairly criticized by a lot of Liberians. Look, Minister Tue has managed a better economy than the previous 2 or 3 finance ministers in Liberia. The Liberian economy, prior to the ascendancy of the CDC government, experienced 3 contractions in row, economic contractions, 3 successive contractions. Under the last several finance ministers, Liberian government experienced budget deficit for several years in a row. So when you look at what Samuel Tual has done so far, let's forget about the surplus you talk about. What he's done so far, he's been able to sustain and manage the economy. The issue about the liquidity issue is manifold, and it's just something that is begging Liberian government and the people to start thinking about other ways of managing our economy. Our economy is a primitive sort of monetary economic system we have, where every transaction is basically has to be done with cash. You have to pay money for it. We need to see how we can change our economy so that there will be more transactions like we do yet. You know what? Once I don't remember the last time I had $1 in my hand in the US yet. I can't remember the last time I had $1, a note in my hand. So we are beginning to take the steps in those directions. There has been steps in that direction, like mobile money. We need to see the Ministry of Finance, the central bank working more collaboratively to see how they can expand the reach of the mobile money to many sectors of business transactions. So those are things we need to do. Because the people, when it comes to money, the issue I don't think is so much so about the government, it's about banks. The people have lost confidence in the banks. The people have lost confidence in the bank. And the banking system is so corrupt. And I understand the central bank is supposed to monitor the banking system. Look, do you know that if you put your money in a bank where the government is not involved and you don't monitor your account, do you know that money disappears from your account? Have you guys heard about it? Actually,
I have a Raul Salif.
Yeah, but not just Raul Salif. Look, I'm telling you, ordinary people, you put your money in the banks. These are not banks that are controlled by government. The money disappears. Now, so people are reluctant to put the money in the banks. They are holding the money. I had a very interesting conversation with my staff again on Wednesday, where we had to discuss. We have this huge amount of money. We have to discuss whether we should actually deposit everything in the bank account, in the banks, and then when it's time to pay the staff, it will be a challenge to get the money out. And it was very interesting to hear what the people were saying. So this is a problem that it extends beyond government. But again, you see, the central bank, the Ministry of Finance, has to find a way. And that's one of the purposes of the central bank. That's why we transition from a national bank we had before, which had a different function, to the central bank, to be able to control the other bank. The central bank is doing a very good job in that direction. So I don't think most of the things that we put the blame on the finance minister, I think the blame is at the central bank and its inability to monitor other banking institutions, which has led to the lack of confidence in the banking sector. There's also the issue of mutilated bank notes, which is very difficult to put, to use. And so there has to be a way where the legislature the central bank has to come together to
Yeah.
produce.
But Professor, let me hold you there. Yeah, let me hold you there,
Yeah,
Professor.
before you go there, he talks about money being this about 8:30. We're going to open the line, and 9 o'clock we're going to be wrapping up. You say what money disappear in the bank?
Oh yeah,
from
people
people.
pressing up bank account, money can disappear.
So then who is that responsible?
So those are. But Mr. George just talked about the issue of Robert Salif, and the Robert Salif is a poster boy case for that. But there are other smaller cases that occurred where people are losing
Yeah, but I
$100.
mean, that was I just said because that was something that was brought to the press, because
Yeah,
maybe
I agree.
it's level, so that was brought in. But Professor, let me take you something back. You're saying that the banks, you want to blame the bank. No.
Yeah.
Senator said something yesterday.
Mhm.
He said the central bank or some of the commercial banks.
Yeah.
And what they did when the bank went to ask for the money, then they said, "Oh, you can purchase this note, the bond. You can purchase the bond." So the money that the central bank should have paid the bank, they traded it. In other words, they give them a bond for that money, and that money got to be people saving. So these are some of the issues. And secondly, the central bank responsibility is to check the balance sheet of the commercial bank to make sure that they are strong enough that they can stand in a shock from the market.
Yeah.
But if the central bank is not doing that, then why would you blame the commercial banks?
Okay,
They are the commercial banks.
Okay, gentlemen, I'll come to you. Let me go to the caller here is on the line from UK. Let me go to him quickly here for his comments or contribution. Caller, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. So.
Yeah, good morning. Go ahead.
Morning. Anyway, I'm Michael Chair of Liberia, living in the United Kingdom. I was just in Liberia. I came back, I spent 2 weeks there. I came back on the 28th. I had the experience of going to the bank, just couldn't get money from the ATM. But this is the issue. I heard Professor Darwin say the Liberian people don't trust the bank because the commercial banks are corrupt. And he alluded that to contribute that, saying that it's the issue alluding to the liquidity problem in the banks. I'll just take you back to when the government decided to infuse 25 million into the economy. Samuel Tuere was the chair for the economic management team.
Right.
Right. What did they advise the government to do? He spoke, and people raised concern concerning them not using the conventional method to infuse the money into the economy. What did they do? They chose to leave the commercial banks. They set up the Forest Bureau, named their own people. That was proven when the report was done by the experts and even the committee the government set up to probe into the infusion of the money. There were people who they claimed they gave money to, and those bureaus, one of them came out to say no, they did not receive such amount. They got probably 10% of what they were talking about. So what did they do? They left the commercial banks. You set up Forest Bureau, you chose to set up Forest Bureau. They gave them the US dollars. And why did they do it? That was intentional. It was intentional. It was deliberate because you had the issue of the new money that was in question that had gone to the central bank and they have not told the public. They had this money in the hands of Lebanese, in the hands of business people. I was in Liberia just before the issue came about. You went to the store to change US dollars, you will get fresh dollars bills. But those money were not coming out of the banking system. So people in government, people outside of the bank have those money. So when they chose to infuse and just follow the trend, so by the time you have the crisis because when Ellen was there, when we visited, the rate was just around 100 Liberian dollars to $1. By the time we had them took over and the 16 million came about, the rate had gone to 200 Liberian dollars to $1. So you have like 100% inflation. So you have this money fluctuating in the market. They said they wanted to alleviate the problem. Instead of going what Doe did when Doe decided at the time to avoid Liberians.
Oh, you got away, the guy called on WhatsApp.
But they went through the commercial bank. It was that time I really opened my first account because I had to go to the commercial bank to change my money to the currency. So the commercial banks are there to help the process. They deliberately chose not to use the commercial bank. It wasn't a mistake. That was an advice from Tua and whoever were part of that economic management team. And what he said the last time, that the Liberian people are not taking their money to the bank because they don't trust the bank. They started it. They were the first group of people that did not trust the bank and chose to put money in the hand of people outside of the banking system. That money, the same people who brought the US dollar, only took the Liberian dollars that they had given their people out there and exchanged it with the US dollar, and they still kept the Liberian dollar. So the people in government are the ones still holding the Liberian dollars, not the ordinary people. Because the ordinary people are circulating the money.
All right.
So they shouldn't deceive the people.
Yeah, but
Wow, that's quite interesting. All right, thank you. All right, let me go to okay. Thank you so much, comrade Chiet. Thank you so much for being awake this morning hour to participate. Let me go to him so he can respond. We got a few things here I want to talk about. Okay, so Professor Saulo, in general, not just only we're not trying it. These are national issue. Is that a fair analysis?
No, it's wrong. First of all, he was very circuitous in his analysis. I would have thought that he would have been longitudinal to provide more facts and build on it. But he just went around saying the same
CDC speaking, longitudinal.
Inconsistent thing. First of all, he has absolutely no clue of how third world economies, how money is infused into the third world economy to stimulate growth. He got no experience of it, no clue about it. So he needs to go and read how it is done. You want the money to have immediate effect. So they don't normally put the money in the commercial banks. Let him go and read about it. They don't do that. They use non-conventional ways to do it because want the effect to be immediate. That's one. Two, I keep saying the same thing here repeatedly. Look, it is one thing to base on hearsay. It's another thing to read the reports. Both reports, the Pitt report and the Crow report, exonerated the economic management team of any economic malfeasance in the disbursement or the infusing of the 25 million into the Liberian economy. They found issues. They had some issues with propriety. Appropriateness, or certain things that were done, like certain institutions were said that initially indicated that they did not receive what was placed on the government reporting on the economic management team reporting document. That's what they said initially. There was subsequent interviews, subsequent investigation, which showed no wrongdoing on the part of the finance minister. The report calls for specific actions to be done, and those specific actions involved capacitating the central bank, calls for, and that's what the president did. They had a restructure of the central bank, brought in new people into it. You know, we can continue to blame, we continue to make stories about certain individuals we don't like, but let's go back and read the report. There was nowhere in that report that Minister Tuer indicted. There was a suggestion that Minister Tuer could not account for money he received. And besides that, he was not responsible for the disbursement aspect of the money. He was on the planning aspect. He was not involved with the disbursement aspect. The disbursement aspect is a responsibility, is a prerogative of the central bank. So you can't hold him responsible. And we're going to be very careful. If we don't know economics, we don't know how these things are done in other countries, then we don't come and talk about going put the money through the same commercial banks that people don't trust. That's the place you're going to put the money? You want the effect to be immediate? No, that's not how it's done. Go and read it. When people are making this argument, what I did was that I did my research to see how money can be infused into the economy to stimulate the economy immediately. And they are all done through unconventional means. Not the traditional commercial banks. The traditional commercial banks don't receive those kind of money. So let's be very careful with those kind of things. So, you know, when people come with these things, let them add facts to the argument. You just go round and round. So he spent 5 minutes going in circles, saying the same thing over and over.
All right. Let me go to the caller here, and also we'll change the topic here quickly. Caller, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. So. My name is Anthony. I'm calling from the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, okay, good. Go ahead.
And I specifically called in because I heard the professor. And Professor, I am not an economist. I want to give the disclaimer here. But I have very much interest in this subject matter because I watch CNBC News. And CNBC is strictly economic stuff. And I can understand the jargon, I understand the workings of economics, but I cannot claim that I'm an economist. However, because you made certain statement here, that's the reason why I'm constrained to call. Minister Samuel D. Tuer, every time he makes economic presentation, he drives away investor, and I'll explain why. I'm going to begin by the last statement he just made on BBC, but before you went to BBC interview, he talked about Freedom FM, he talked about Digital Frontier. Digital Frontier is using mobile money. M-Pesa was launched in Kenya 2007. The word Pesa means money in the Swahili language, and the M stands for mobile. So they just call it M-Pesa. And the reason why M-Pesa is successful today is because of the availability of liquidity, cash. In banking, there's something called M1, M2, money in a bank, in a vault, and money outside in circulations. You understand that the finance minister of Liberia is not just only finance minister, he also for development and planning. Meaning, before the government spend money, that money should be generating revenue that gotta be return on the investment, all the different things. So his squad was very strategic responsibility. And so when the economic issue came about, when President Weah took office, the inflation of Liberia was 19%. Today, as we speak, it's a little over 45%. That means Liberia is not qualified for the West African nation one currency that will be launched in 2021 this year. It has been delayed, so this year will be launched. But we are not qualified. In order to be qualified, we gotta be in one digit, at least 5% or less inflation. The more you print money, the higher the inflation gets. I stayed somewhere in Philadelphia when he came here, and there was a town hall. And I asked him specific questions on the economics front, not political questions, because people were asking political questions and he was running over them because the guy can talk. But I asked specific questions. I asked Minister Samuel because right now, the entire country, Liberia, only one place can process passport is the foreign ministry. The entire country. I said, what mechanism will you put in place for the Liberian government to adequately generate revenue for the country? He could not answer that question. But just to make the matter short tonight, he spoke about digital frontier and the digital frontier thing. People should use mobile money. But he's saying, when we pay saver selling, for instance, don't cash out. Because if you cash out, then money bill will be high. Well, you're telling me that I just opened a bank account with a bank, and the bank issued me an ATM card, but I should not go to the ATM and cash out. You just talk about, you have not used cash for a long time. You don't know the one last year.
So
you have $1.
you can hold on 1 second. Tony, you're on a WhatsApp. Other calls coming, so at least in the 1 minute, and let's conclude it so that other people will,
Okay, let me make it short. So let him speak directly, because he says Samuel Eto'o have balanced other country economy. That is not true. No country has Samuel Eto'o have balanced the economy. Call our country and what role he played.
Well, I don't think you heard me. I didn't say that.
I don't know exact role he played in Abidjan, because I know exactly where Abidjan Development Bank. I live not too far from that place, and I had somebody who was working there as well. And Liberia, he was a consultant on American, and we saw budget support. So what did he do? What country economy does Samuel Eto'o balance before becoming a finance minister? Answer that question, sir.
Okay, let me see here. Let me go to this number here, and then I'll go to the lines here. We need to change the topic here in before we wrap up here. Are you there? 774 number?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey,
How you doing, Mr. So?
hey, good. How are you? Happy New Year, buddy.
Okay. Look, I've been following these platforms, especially yours as well, and several other. We're talking about money, the issues in Liberia, the economy. We're refusing to ask ourselves a few questions as it relates to what's happening in the country. Let's look at the person that's at the helm by the finance ministry. Ask yourself first, what has Samuel Eto'o worked?
Oh, let me see.
That is required to run the finance ministry. That's a fact. Anybody can memorize an economic book and regurgitate those terms. All he does is talk. He doesn't understand. He has not worked anywhere before. He was a truck driver out of Minnesota, like goes to Liberia, gets a consultancy that anybody can get, and then next thing you know, he's Minister of Finance. We have to understand that. I hear people talking about all these economic terms that those that understand what they're saying. I call myself a practicalist. The issue is there are solutions to mitigate what's happening in Liberia. The solutions are there 24/7. Nobody's looking at the solutions. They're everywhere.
This is good.
Funny. These questions are not being answered. We have to find the people who understand what's going on. All Samuel Eto'o does is talk. He does not understand. This man has worked nowhere before. Everybody can tell me where he worked. Nowhere.
Okay. All right.
The issue is
It's something that we're going to
Go ahead.
African development.
the issue is there are solutions to these problems.
You just saying the same thing over and over again. One of the problems.
It is not about all economic terms. I'm sick and tired of this LU dogging. Look, I don't know what happened before 1990. I know LU was an excellent university. As it stands right now, when Samuel Eto'o graduated, I believe 2001, that was a 10th grade university. This is not somewhere you take a finance minister from who's not been tested. This place works nowhere. And besides the work, the solution would mitigate the problems that we have in the country. I can give you thousands of them. There are people written. I myself written. A lot of people have written these articles. People have to read. The issue is about Liberia. It's not making a job. When you hold a ministerial position, it is not about an income. It's about legacy. People have to understand the distinction of it.
Okay.
But at this point, Eto'o doesn't understand what he's doing. He's not done it before. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Let me go to those guys, and we're going to be we'll get a few minutes. We want to dive into the vice president talking point today here. But let me go back to you guys fairly so that everybody can make a pitch, and then we can switch gear. Professor, you want to go? Because it seems that all the kitchen sink is coming at you.
Well, yeah, I wish they would have been. I respect the callers. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. Interestingly, one of them, the first one, talk about every time Samuel Eto'o speaks, he drives away investor. And so that was the premise of his call. And he never spoke about why he said so. He just went in a totally different direction. The next caller is very interesting that he has a solution. He repeats about there's a solution, but didn't get into anything but a solution. But what he thought was most important was to denigrate Samuel Eto'o qualification and education. These are the kind of people that have that. These are the kind of people who create the problems for us. And that when we get back home, the people back home don't want to respect us. Those of us from the diaspora. You know, it's unfortunate that we speak in those kind of ways. Look, when you talk about I mentioned it earlier today. He says something that I said that Samuel Tuer balance some country economy. You know, I didn't say that. So it's a hearing problem there. But I do understand some of us can have some deficiency, and sometimes it's kind of difficult to accept. But look, the issue about, I think the minister misspoke when he said that when they pay people through mobile money, they shouldn't cash out. I think what he was trying to say is they should not completely cash out, because the mobile money, you know, use of mobile money is a stopgap measure. It's not a panacea to the problem. And I'm very positive that the young man who just spoke, he may have some brilliant ideas. And those brilliant ideas he has, and the others that many others have, you know, we look for the opportunity for us to marry all those ideas and find a problem. But the issue of using mobile money is just one step, you know, in the direction to finding the problem. It's not a solution all in itself. And when if we bring the mobile money into, you know, people begin to transact business using mobile money, then maybe there will not be that much demand for the actual cash. And then we can be given some time to solve the actual liquidity problem. But, you know, for that to work, the Minister of Finance and the banking institutions will have to do more. Because how do you pay at the market with mobile money? Is every market woman going to be having mobile money?
Not possible. Okay, so
that they will have to overcome.
Okay, let's conclude this part here. Let me go to Liberal. Liberal, do you have additional point on that? And come down to George and then listen so we can pivot.
Yes. I'm sorry to take us back, but before that, let me just throw this one other stuff here. We listened to the professor speaking earlier, and making reference to Samuel Tuer. This is what he said. Let us forget about the surplus that he talks about, speaking about Samuel Tuer. We're talking about the economy. Samuel Tuer lied to us that they have surplus. Then you say, we're not talking about that one. That's CDC for you. But let me go on to the big one here. The CDC, the professor, even Mr. Tuer, made reference that let us go and look at the report. And here is the core report that I have here. Okay. Yeah. But let me read something to you very quickly. Under the direction of the finance minister, this is from the core report now on page 9, if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. Under the direction of the finance minister, the president economic management team conducted a separate USD $25 million exercise map out. Okay, exercise to map out the bank note, US note, and what at the time of core review, the result in a $2.5 billion Liberian dollar, $15 million being purchased by the central bank from the local businesses exchange in an attempt to address the discrepancy of the Liberian dollar. The action was undertaken by the bank. In other words, they're saying here when the core was doing that report, the central bank and the finance ministry did not provide some key document. It's in here. Let me read something quick to you again. This one here, very interesting. Mm-hmm. It says here, in July 2018, and this is on page 14 of the report. In July 2018, President George Weah, year after President Weah, announced that the US $25 million will be infused, okay, into the Liberian economy to map out excess Liberian dollar banknote in an attempt to address the depreciation of the Liberian dollar year after. Core open source research show that President Weah mandated the economic team chaired by Honorable Samuel Tuer. They made his name in here. Samuel Tuer and the finance minister. And in that particular point, they said that once again, Samuel Tuer and his people, instead of them managing the affair of the map out, they turn it over to the central bank, thereby wiping their hands off of it. And when they come out and when they were asked to produce document, they failed to do so. Samuel Twa is Nikon. If you go through this thing, Samuel
that's
Twa
right.
is blamed in most of the action. So,
No.
Professor, to say
No.
here that Samuel Twa was exonerated, this is far from exoneration, sir. But let me just before you come up, Professor, I will give you a chance. This is the liberal progressive. This is New Year Eve. I mean, New Year, where we're here to allow people to freely express themselves.
Yeah.
Now, the issue here, so before we move from Samuel Twa is not only arrogant, but Samuel Twa seems to be one of those guys that want to be the magician in CDC. And this is not good for our country. Samuel Twa is highly educated, very smart, but he must be truthful to say, at this one, I need help. If Samuel Twa call for help, Liberians will be willing. In fact, Samuel Jackson said yesterday, Samuel Twa owe him $5,000. Have you heard him taking Samuel Twa to court? No. Liberians are willing to help. Sedition that are in the diaspora. If the government were to tap into the CDC brain in America, CDC and this government, you will see they will skyrocket. I mean, the operation of this government will move so fast, you will think that, is that the same CDC yesterday? Because they have the brain, they have the manpower that can move that country. But because of these two people that I keep naming, they refuse, and the president is quite acquiescing into whatever it is that they do. So, Professor, I feel bad for you, but I'm not going to sympathize with you. Let me say that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'll let other speak, and then maybe I'll come back to
Patrick.
I just
and the professor wrap it up before we come to.
I just wanted to say something about this digital money thing. Kenya, 98% of the population now use digital money. But this cannot just be done between the central bank and the Ministry of Finance. No. The government must first establish the digital program. That is number one. Digital program, the government must establish that. Because in order to take that pressure off the banks and the cell phone company, they have to bring that in. Because the cell phone will list all those people with cell phone numbers. Have a complete list of those people. So then the digital aspect will be there. Professor talked about using card. That all because the digital aspect will settle all those things. That if you took a check to the supermarket, for instance, it will not take 1 week to clear the system. The moment that check is run through the machine, it should be cleared out to avoid fraud and things. So that has to be done. That when the digital people will come in to settle all those things. So it's not just the Minister of Finance and that of the bank. You have to bring the cell phone company and settle the digital space so they can monetize those, so those things can be properly set out. Then, because if you go to the market, you can use your phone right there to buy fish from someone, because the person was saying if you got a phone and the phone has, they will all have that digital money thing. So if you do like that, it is not a shortcut thing. It will have to take time, but if they start the process, it can work. Then that will take the pressure off the banks in the country. So I just wanted to make that clear. It will not just be the central bank and that of the Minister of Finance. No, you have to bring in the cell phone companies because they will do all the program or all the cell phone in the country. And even with that, government can levy tax against those people, those transactions that will bring in extra revenue to the country. So you have to bring the cell phone company, the Minister of Finance, the bank, then the government set a digital program. So those transactions can go smoothly. When you go to the store, by the time you purchase this thing, the money is transferred to the people account. And that's how it works, But it's not a shortcut fix. But if the government stands, we can improve on it. Just to save that people from this cash money, you got to carry thousands of dollars to buy something to the supermarket, whereby you can just put the money in the bank and use your phone to transfer it. I think that will help to go a long way to save the country for all people having.
All right. Let them missing on, and Professor Zawlo will make his final point on that.
Well, you see, when it comes to money policy and the professor thinks that the finance minister is exempt or should be exempt or be given a leeway for his position. He's the finance, economic, and development minister. The problem. That's a whole lot of responsibility. And if we want to use digital system, it takes the bank, the commercial bank must be viable. They cannot be wishy-washy, they cannot be slack, they cannot be, and that will bring in the central bank. You talk about the infusion of $25 million into the account, and they say you got to go unconventional method so that it can have the effect directly in the economy. But as soon as the money was infused, the inflation went up. Instead of going down, it went up. That means it was not working. The method you used not working. So why didn't you just start by trying 5 million? So let's see if we infuse 5 million. Let's see what will happen. No, you wanted to infuse the whole 25 million. And please, let's be frank to the report. The Crow report only accounted for 17 million. There's about 8 million unaccounted for. The 17 million accounted for that was distributed. There's 8 million unaccounted for. But because of diplomacy, they play with the term of reference. We want to use digital money. We got to put money in the commercial bank. We got to keep money in the commercial bank. And the only way to keep money in the commercial bank is to let them know that the reserve is there and the reserve is strong. If you got the reserve for the commercial bank strong as controlled by the central bank, then whatever money you put in that bank, in those banks will start to send it out and take what you want from out there. Hey, I'm going to give you $5 million. I need $5 million to money from the economy. So when the mutual letter money go to the bank will take the mutual letter money and set it aside, and that money will obviously go. Okay, it will go to the government for destruction, or it will be better way you will account for more money. So you can say we need to print more money because we have taken this one off. But you cannot show what we took out of it.
Okay. All right. Professor, you want to make your last point on this so we can...
I'll be very short. First of all, the Liberal Progressive, what you read affirms what I said. It clearly laid out the role that the Minister of Finance played. Being the head of a team does not necessarily mean you are the disbursing agent of that team. So whatever you said did not contradict my assertions here tonight and the assertions of the Finance Minister. He's repeatedly cleared himself, and that report also cleared him. I also understand that that there were also a review of both the Crow and Pitt report after its initial submission, and there were full reconciliation and harmonization of the disparity that Mr. Mason just spoke about. So let us establish that. The report at the end of the day affirmed that the Finance Minister actions did not constitute any form of financial impropriety. So let's clear that. Now, I wanted to quickly end here by saying to Mr. Anthony Gay, I'm sorry, in the spirit of the spirit of the moment, I may have, said that, you have hearing problem. You did not understand my statement, and so you misquoted me. That did not give me the right to say you had hearing problem or you had some disability. I apologize to you for that. And again, Mr. George, you reaffirm what I said. The mobile money issue can be used to address the problem. I keep hearing Minister Gay arguing that if you have a mobile money in place, you should have an equal, comparable amount of cash to go inside in order for mobile money to work. Not necessarily so. And I think, Mr. George, you agree with me that not necessarily so. Yeah. I mean, is that something that will be in an ideal situation? Yes, but not necessarily so for it to work. Because the mobile money can address the need for actual cash in disbursement.
Yeah,
so it requires a lot of work, to be put in place for it to be effective. And Mr. Twa is my friend. He's a brother, and I appreciate it. But I think he has been talking about this for a very long time, and I think it's about time he takes the necessary action to improve or expand the mobile money facilities across the country, so it can sink into every aspect of our economy.
All right. With the little time left here, like I said, I'm not sure what I was sort of coincident today by the coalition or the ruling establishment trying to fine-tune their language, who's trying to gain ground on what. Following Akara's great appearance, the vice president of the Republic of Liberia, he did appear on a sister network, Spawn TV, and were quite fascinating. I just put a few little samples. They're going to be an audio, and I jotted a few things down. We're going to do a quick brush through here to see whether they are now struggling or they are in the process to fine-tune their language to see whether they get back on a quick footing. So we're going to listen to this. That's the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia there. Let me see here if we can get this here, just a little bit, and then we can have a conversation.
Putting our heads together and with all of the others that were on board to build a team that enabled us to win these elections. If that same team had been put together and brought to the table with the way we worked in the campaign, maybe we would have done much, much, much more. But that is still milk. It's not an issue as we go forward. If I'm asked, I will put my best foot forward as I always do. If not, I'll continue to be the president of the Senate and do what I can in my own sphere.
My Vice President, just before, and I want to circle in with MPP Bong County. Bong County is your political base. And I think even with the last election, you were on tape. So this is not something that everybody was not aware of. You were on tape when you were very clear that you were not going to support Henry Yala for his re-election bid. You, by staying silent, right, was it also a message you were sending by saying, I'm just not going to say anything? And how did you feel? Well, okay, I shouldn't ask how did you feel because obviously you didn't agree with it. But the reason I'm asking this question is, as you move forward with some of the rearrangements in the coalition and how you guys move forward, is it one of the things that you were talking about, that, consultation, all of the different things? And how did you, with Henry Yala being on that ticket and you not supporting that ticket, do you think it cost you guys the election in Bong County? And why did you not want to support him? Why?
And then, the issue of former Senator Yala has been something that I've been really vocal about for many years. Long before we got into 2020, I spoke of the fact that I didn't think he was worthy of the votes of the Bong County citizens, and that I think he squandered his opportunity as a young man to work for the betterment of Bong County. And I was quite vocal about it. I made many instances when he was chair of the caucus, and all of the other things that I felt that he mismanaged. And I wasn't silent about it. 2 years ago, when the issue was brought to my attention, I said over and over and over that I would not support Senator Yala because I did not think that he would have won, because the country wasn't happy with the way he had held his first 9 years. And again, I was overruled, and the party went ahead to carry someone who would not have won in Bong County. So we lost Bong County Sport. At a particular point in time, I thought I had said enough, because I was quite clear with my engagements in the county. I knew very well that he would not have been re-elected. I said it way beyond the time. I was shocked even to find out that he had been coerced to come and join the coalition. And then they kept saying, don't mind her, she can talk plenty, but in the end, we'll go pay her. Benjamin, all I have is my word. As a female, that's very important. Sometimes men are able to say things and say, I was just political talk. But women are held accountable for everything they do, everything they say. And if the men will get punishment 10 times, we'll get it 100 times. So I'm very vocal about some of the things I believe in. And I'll give the reasons why it wouldn't be in a shrouded mist that people wouldn't be able to understand. I worked in the county for more than 15 years. And so I knew that he was not the right choice. And I don't care what we had done. even though they took some of my family members and had them go and say, oh, this is the year we carry. You know, Bonkake had made up his mind a couple of years before, so I was just reiterating what I knew. Sadly.
Okay, Professor Zaru, are you guys there?
Yeah.
Okay, that was the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia. 2 years ago, very unusual, and to be honest, this lady, she's so smart. If you go back there and listen to that, there were a lot of things. 2 years ago, I was in Liberia, and I was able to sit with her, but that was it was a different setting completely. To find somebody in a high-profile political office, I was unwilling to talk politics. Let's look at this, and I'm going to bring you guys before we go off here tonight. Good afternoon. I'm Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio, based in the USA, but currently visiting Liberia, here in the nation's capital of Monrovia. Today, we are in the offices, actually the conference room of Her Excellency, the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, 2 terms Senator of Bong County, now is the number 2 President of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. Joel Howard Taylor. The last time I interviewed her was during the senatorial race 2 times, but this time it's in a different capacity. Madam Vice President, thank you for granting us this opportunity.
Thank you. This is an opportunity for me. I'm welcome.
Thank you so much. I would want to say a big thank you to the staff that have helped us to facilitate this process. They have been filling up with information, and that has given the diaspora community the opportunity to know exactly what is happening. But this time around, Madam Vice President, I hope not to dwell on the politics, but some of the things that you are doing and that have claimed the attentions of the diaspora community in terms of your advocacy of gender-based violence and the starvation processing. A lot is not being said about this within the diaspora community. And I've talked to a lot of women, there are a lot of followers who are hoping to get a little details of the program. What can you tell us about that?
Well, as Vice President, I had several brainstorming meetings with staff as to how we would proceed. You know, the office of the Vice President is the second office. We are supportive of the office of the President. And so our sphere of work is in supporting the national focal agenda of His Excellency the President. However, I have a passion for things involving women empowerment, and sexual and gender-based violence is one of those issues that tear women away from their greatest potential.
Why, I had to interrupt. Why is this so dear to you? But from time to time, I follow your activity, and this seems to be like a bullet point. This seems to be like the argument you have been making from time to time. Why is it so important to you?
If you've ever met a girl or a woman who's been raped or sexually abused, it changes your whole perception of what life is. Truthfully, those who are perpetrators of sexual and gender-based violence are considered members of the family, close friends, close relatives. Most times it's people living in the same vicinity or in the same home. And you can imagine a young child who feels comfortable because you're not in the street. When you step out into the street, you know there's danger, and so you're more aware. You take better.
Okay, it was quite interesting, but here is the point that I'm trying to drive here. 2 years ago, it was really tense. And for most people that really follow the trend for the relationship with the executive, or the immediate boss and that of our office, Capitol Building, to some extent, she kind of alluded during the Rockness Theater interview that she almost said, you know what, I'm getting out of this thing here. And that was strange because folks that are close to her, like, the Vice President always speak with you, but she at this time she didn't want to talk politics because it was ugly. But I was shocked today for most of you that listen to her. She talks a little bit about the Bong County people, how she was not even consulted, and even the question came about whether she been asked to in making or her opinion, or she was involved in the appointment aspect. She said no. But at the same time, she was very much calculative. They went further to ask her whether you're going to grade the president. They said, no, I'm not going to do that. It is the Liberian people, all of us, they are elected. But I hope lesson is learned. So to you, Professor, let me just start with you because she's part of your coalition, that is the governing party in Liberia. Was there any lesson learned?
Look, every constituent, the value, there is a value in every constituent member of the coalition. The Congress for Democratic Change being the most populous movement of the three constituent members of the coalition, and the collaborating involvement of Senator Prince Johnson respects all of our members of the coalition. Having said that, I think the vice president needs to walk back some of her actions, some of her exertions.
What are you talking about? When you say walk back on what specifically?
Back some of the things she said and some of the things she's done. Look, we have many members of our party who were dejected in 20.
You're getting the Liberal is boiling. Get ready for the smash down from the Liberal. Go ahead.
That's right. When they could not run because the arrangement in place allotted certain missions to the NPP. So those members of our party who really wanted to run, who are putting a lot of resources, could not run. Congress had to tell the partisans that they had to be disciplined. We had to respect the arrangement. For the vice president to openly declare non-support for the candidate of the coalition, it was unfortunate. But let me conclude by saying here that look, the NPP, the LPDP, and the CDC have a strong coalition. The strength of our unity is something that has no parallel in the world because it's too strong. It cannot be broken. So the NPP, the CDC, and the LPDP will go to 2023 elections as a united force, and we intend to bring other into the coalition. It's unfortunate that the vice president feels that she's not been given the support that she, deserved.
She been given the support.
I hope that is something that the vice president, the governing council, can attend to in a not too soon future, so that the vice president can be able to play the role that she should be playing. But I find it unfortunate that she could go against the party's candidate. I don't think there's anything about. I think it was very good for the vice president not to create the president. I think that was political interest not to create the president.
Professor Zauro, look in the eyes of the camera right here, because the Liberal is about to smash you. I just want to let you know, and not to mention Tupac George missing. Everybody see that with the alligator eyes, they all more about to get on you. But she also pointed out though that she was not even consulted. NPP, the stronghold of NPP is Banga, but when it came to Prince Johnson, they said, "Okay, go ahead, just bring any other person." But at the same time, you listen to her Tebia. She had made her position. She worked in accounting for 15 years. So she knows where she was coming from. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, Fox now, they didn't listen to her. She was not involved in the decision-making process, as a matter of fact. And she raised a red flag. She said, look, going with this guy here, he does not have a right standing with the people of Bon County, with the Bongis. So it will be a disaster, it will be a failure. So it's proven now. So she's correct, right?
Well, temporarily, the NPP was involved the NPP was fully involved in the decision to have carried Senator Yala. The NPP was fully involved in that decision making. If the vice president was not consulted, that blame has to go on the NPP. But NPP was fully involved. It's not going to be a blame placed on the Congress. Now there should be a blame placed on the coalition. That was a blame squarely placed on the NPP. But because the NPP was fully involved in the selections of candidates all across.
Okay,
everywhere.
so okay, let me bring the Liberty Parties in here. Let's just get literary political execution. So don't come. Oh my goodness, what
You
is
know
he
what?
doing?
Before you bring it in, let me just say one thing to him. I don't think he even has standing on this kind of issue because his party doesn't even hold primary. So I think Pastor should talk and Mr. Mason should talk. Let that leave him out of this one because
Oh my God. Is that the same guy who said nobody should contest against Darrell Dillon, right?
I know, yeah.
Oh, so now he trying to we are right again. The liberal.
Yes. Professor Zagro, thank you for taking that line. You cut my legs off of my my position very quickly. Look, folks, to be honest with you, Professor Zagro, I think what happened with the vice president and the coalition in Bond County, they were wrong against her. And not only that, Professor Zagro, this lady, I keep saying that I had a whole show about her here the last time. She came in, I believe, she came into this position believing, even though it's a man-dominated society, including the politics and what have you, and she being a lady, she came in to this position believing that sedition men were behind her when she went to Bond County and make that statement about it's our time, we will eat, believing that people were going to come to her, to her view. Now, this is the same vice president. You have a platform that is run by one of the security apparatus agents, boss under Dr. Weah administration. The radio station, the young man on there insulted this lady publicly. Nothing had been done. You heard that the vice president in her home, there have been other issues where some member of the CDC-led government will go in there and don't want to be searched or don't want to obey the rule of the security that are guiding her. There's so many things I can go on here this afternoon. So now to say that this vice president should now go ahead and take back what she said, no. This vice president took a stand, and she's not giving up. This vice president, when she was part, and she's still part of the process, but when in their coalition document, some of which I have here, it's clearly stated that if you're in a county where your coalition member already have a standing official who then intend to seek re-election, you have to allow that person to go on without being challenged. CDC and Mono decided to violate that rule by putting people in Bond County when they know very well that even if she doesn't have anybody in there, she's a daughter of Bond County. This vice president of why will you not consult her to say, madam, this is what we intend to do? This is respect. And I think the lack of respect, especially for our women and our sisters and mother in Liberia, will actually get this government into serious issue. Let me just connect this here very quickly. The incoming administration of the United States, many of the people that are working are Me Too movement group. They're not going to take anybody disrespecting women, let alone the vice president of the country. So, Professor, to sit here now to say the vice president need to come out and take back some of the things, it's too late. She has taken. When she was speaking softly, you guys didn't go back to say, look, madam, let's help you. Let's work together. You didn't do it. Now she's stuck, put her foot in the ground and say, I'm not moving. And ain't nothing gonna move her. Nothing gonna move her. You need Bond County to win. Bond County is the second largest electoral block in Liberia. You need Bond County to win. Without Bond County, you're going nowhere. In fact, CDC, you're going nowhere. You're done. Your platform is done. Your governing system is done. We the party and the CPP will come and redeem Liberian. This is what I gave you, Professor.
Does the U.S.-based Liberty Party
Why do you always have to say US-based Liberty Party? Why can't it just be Liberty Party?
No, but you say your own words. You say you only a card holder for USA, not Liberia. Am I lying? Pa George.
Oh, okay, all right, go ahead. We don't need to go through that. Go ahead.
Let me bring in Mr. Amos George here. I know he's boiling within there when it comes to his own hometown of Bond County and his own sister. I believe they're going to form a coalition right now with the Bond Solidarity. Mr. George, the professor said Dr. Joel Howard Taylor should walk back her statement. You support that?
No. Here's the thing here. I have my disagreement with Howard Taylor because the way Bond County being run. And because of CDC, when Dr. Henry Tukpa was running, she was supporting Mervyn Cole from the CDC. She went up there and said a whole lot of stuff to Dr. Tukpa. Very divisive. And someone frowned on her. Because after the election, they said that when they smoke the peace pipe, they move on. But this lady has been disrespected by CDC. He made mention about that guy from Freedom FM. And Mr. So we were on issue with this, who had that discussion.
Yes.
Then one of the director from NSA went to force his way into this woman resident. There were altercation between he and the bodyguard. The Minister of Justice said that they were going to investigate. Today, the investigation is still pending. We have not heard anything about that investigation. There came a time that she said she was not getting her benefit. I think she refused to attend some programs at the time. What is the CDC party doing to reach out if there's anything that is happening in hospital? Why they can't set it up? Nobody reach out because they figure that they have won the election, so they don't need Bond County, they don't need her. Henry Yala, he was not about CDC. He came from a different party. But because CDC figure now to undermine his lead, they will take Henry Yala out of the blue to go put him up there, that he going to win the election. Henry Yala, this guy is not a corrupt individual in the country. He from Pocoya District, 2017, I was on a case there. When the money come to person, the people crops and water in that area. And I was asking, what was Henry Yala? He from that district. Why he cannot inquire why his people have been treated by the mining company? Nobody said anything at the time. He jumped up. He wanted to divide Bond County. He said lower and up, upper. He Henry Yala, because he figured that he could not win the seat in Bond County. So he wanted to divide the country so now he can be representative for the lower part. That failed. Today, what we are at is all between what happening today is the maker of CDC. The ISO on our program with the ISO. When last year the president spoke, and her benefit, she said they should look in the budget, but she did not say we spoke 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So it means that something is seriously happening. And I don't know, professors, or they can say they will set it up in-house, fine. But some of our records, if CDC win the next election in Bond County, if the carry Bond this coming in the 2023, if CDC carry Bond County, I want to see it. But I know they will not carry the any other Dr. Suran there is another character that I don't even want to describe. Because Dr. Suran go on join CDC. This man got no character. This man had joined all the political parties in Liberia. And he ran CDC that way he running. And those are the kind of people CDC got to put in Bond County. We are waiting for them. But let me close on this note. CDC actually said the marriage will be ending in 2022. So we want to see how the marriage going to end up, how the divorce will go. But this woman She has been
you attend the ceremony?
I prefer also hear myself. I attend the ceremony,
Oh
but
my goodness. You're carrying labor with you too.
but this
Okay.
vice president, she has been marginalized by the CDC legal government and disrespected by them. They do not respect her. They are not live up to the side of the bargaining. I don't know what is it, but I don't know, for some reason they are not live up to the side of the bargaining. So now she's speaking up. I mean, she has a right. Her right. If she go public, fine. For me, I don't have a problem with that. I never supported her. I got issue with her. I also blaming her because some of them are other in Bon County. The Bon Technical College, 10 years, they are not put a graduate. The school is not finished. They went and took the school and put it on another school campus. And honor her supervision. So those are some of the issues, but it's now, I don't want to bring that here, but just looking at from what is happening in the government, she has not been respected by the CDC legal government.
Okay. Missing going to come to that, but something she also said today that I have a different opinion, and that was she talked on that briefly during an interview. She get a foundation, and I heard her saying today that she's going to allow Spoon to to oversee her foundation. I don't know in what context. It does not negate the fact to say, oh, it's now or I think, unless she wants to tell us that there's no board of directors or there were no people that were managing the affair, but to take it down to say, okay, in the interest of transparency, then how can a media institution also do that and where they, because the media institution should be the one to also I do a facts check on those people. So, but when you turn around to be a presider over such a thing, I don't know. I hope they will not even do that. You can raise funds, but to say, okay, they should be in charge to do even expense for the organizations. It doesn't make no sense to me.
I think she will rethink. She will rethink that decision. It's not right. If she wants to run an NGO, anything outside her office.
Yeah, we've been having the organization for years. So why would you turn it over to media? Who does?
She should find an independent group outside her office that people will be able to approach, and they will be able to give people documents and tell them the activities of that organization. But for a media institution, no, I must have some reservation about that.
Go there and do your fundraiser. I reached out with all this evening here, so hopefully we're going to work something because there are a lot of questions too we have to follow. But Mr. Messing.
Yes, sir.
So here is the deal here, deal or no deal. Is the damage already been done? Can this relation be restructured? Can it be rebuilt? Would there be any confidence in that direction? Because she spoke on that too. She said when we started this, it was okay, everything was fine. But all of a sudden, when people got to 9th floor, 8th floor, whatever foreign affairs or whatever, all of the things just quickly vanished away. Is it too late, or can they recover?
Well, I got a strong feeling they can recover, but it will have to be a lot of work to convince her that they mean what they mean business, and they will keep the marriage going. It's not just by words; it has to be in action. It has to be a lot of these done, and the problem I'm really fighting with right now is whether the sedition have the willpower. Now, when I speak of the sedition, I'm talking about the Congress of Democratic Change. Whether they have that willpower to overstep their pride, to remove themselves from the university palaver hut, and come down to.
Are you trying to stir out trouble here, Missy?
Huh?
I said, are you stirring out trouble?
No. So I'm not trying to stir up anything. I attended LU. Those guys and myself graduated the same year. When the people stay in the Parliament hall to talk, that they are the same need to talk today. The same thing, they change. They have come to national politics as though they are in school politics. The jargon words you hear them using, those are words that university students they will take 3, 4, 5 different adjectives, they put it together, then they trap it, then you say sound. Then I look at them and say, what you say sound for? The first 2 adjectives they mentor, but you know where you're going, eh? Then you let all contain. Look, this is the thing. We have to grow out of certain things, and this government need to grow up. They need to grow up. There's a lot of serious and potentially good people in CDC, but they are not in the hem of power. They are in the back seat. They're not complaining the driver is going to make an accident. The people who complain, the people who standing by the road and looking, say, that car was so there in the gutter. Then they put in the car, oh, just be a driver, let go. You know the driver going in the water, then you're sitting down there saying, say something. So this marriage will work. It will work, but they got to want to make it work.
Your woman going in the direction, be the driver, be the old dad that you want. Is that where you're going?
They used to that song. They have spoken about the disrespect that they have given to the vice president. And the woman, she has said it, the vice president has said it all clear. Come 2022, the decision to go to 2023 will be made. But brother, if that marriage is broken, Bonkate is gone. And Prof. Daulo, I will want to disagree with you in when you say that she need to take her words back. It was the coalition responsibility to go to her and say, hey ma'am, you the second in command. We're going to Bonkate. What's your crime? I mean, what's your opinion on these people we got? What do you think about our possibilities? Talk to her. Get her side. I mean, get her opinion before you make a decision. But when you make a decision that she said she was not consulted, and she also told you that they would start a winnable candidate. My brother, in democracy, there are individuals even within the party. Not because you are part of the party means you are not an individual. She is also an individual. She may be up there in the party, but she is an individual. So if you overlook her and her opinion, she has the right to take the stand she talk and make it public. You need to learn from that too and say, well, this is what I need to do. Who has yours? We are turned down that you're not accept.
Okay, so all right, Professor, let me just place you like a piece of cloth between the scissors here. If you are called in today to say, hey, you know what, you've been articulating, you have reinforced the message of this government here. We want you to get out a strategic plan to get the president and the deputy, which happens to be Dr. Joy Howard Taylor, to see whether those broken pieces can be reconstructed or, mend those broken pieces. Will you first of all accept such an offer if it were to come to a way, and how will you intend to approach that?
Look, I don't want to speculate on what, but I will always be in a position to help, cement the ties that exist between amongst the members of the coalition. So I'll always be willing to do that. Look, some of us have been having discussions behind the scene on possible ways to breach whatever semblance of disagreement or disunity exists. And the president and the vice president, first of all, needs to develop a friendship. So some of the things we've talked about in the past is that, for example, the president and vice president must agree to have maybe lunch or dinner or breakfast twice a week, to sit down and talk structure and direction of the country. That is something that's very important. But they have to have a friendship outside of the bridge. There must be a friendship, a genuine friendship. And I think, I'll be very honest with you, I think the president feels that to some extent he was disrespected by Vice President Howard Taylor. And I think it's important for them to sit down and address where he felt he was disrespected. And then the president, on the vice president, on the other hand, who has felt disrespected by the presidency, and those near him can talk about that, and then they can harmonize it. But I think the NPP, CDC, LPD coalition is far above President Weah and Vice President Howard. The coalition remains intact. The people of Bond County will vote CDC come 2023. That's something for sure, we know. And honestly, there are options. If CDC decides to go another way, take another vice president, there are numerous options in Bond County. If we want to keep that position within the Bond County, there are so many options available. But I don't want to see that. I would love to see the vice president remain, and this relationship can be cemented and improved. And so I hope that we can begin to do that in very soon. And like I indicated on the show, I will be going to Liberia very soon. And these are some of the things that some of us will definitely be working on. But even while we are here, we've already started to advance ideas on how they can fix that relationship.
Okay, well, good people, the time is no longer in our favor on the docket now. That's how we're going to conclude it here. It does not end the conversation, it's continuity. So before we go, let's see here. I don't know who wants to make the last point, 30 seconds. All of you guys, let me start with Pat George, because that way the Liberal won't have the chance to punch him because he'll be out. So Pat George.
Yeah, look.
What's your final word tonight?
Yeah, I just want to say this. Bond County is no more the Bond County it used to be 25 years ago. That you just take one child, when you use a person, and when you get a position, you sideline, then you go pick another person. It's not a Bond County again, because some of us will be out there to look forward. Because I said, just one person we went to Bond County, what did he say? What was his remark about? The people who are now with us, when next year we'll see what we'll do to them. Who was he referring to? You in the county of the vice president. She's not invited to a program that you're attending to lunch, and you're making such a remarks. Look, they can make up. But I think some of know one or two persons in Bond County that we'll talk to. So the issue here is, if you decide to do something, be honest, be sincere in the deed. But when you are not sincere, you say, oh, I will do this, I will do this. When the time reaches, I will go back. Sometimes it works, but sometimes it doesn't work. And so we hope to see how 2022 will be, that CDC will come back in to win Bond County with another song from Bond County. We want to see that. I personally want to see that. This time, the campaign I'll be running Liberia this time is also, now the yo-yo again will be cutting clips and playing it in your own words. Those items will be doing now.
Ooh. Wow.
So I just want to say thank you to Professor Zawo. I always say that I like Professor Zawo. If he were the face of CDC, maybe it would have been something different. But anyway, that's it. But I just want to say thank you to everybody. And the Liberal back there, he has someone to beat on tonight. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Missing.
Well,
who kicked the can down the road?
CDC has an opportunity, and like Honorable Gray said in his interview, he said that presidential election is different from legislative election. And I sat down, I looked at it, and I said to him, yeah, it's different because you're talking about differences, but it also depicts, especially for ruling parties, it tells them why the people are going for. So only thing I want is I want Liberia to be better. I want the people of Liberia to live better. I want the people to enjoy what we enjoy. We got to make one leader got to decide to make the sacrifice. I wish CDC will open their eyes, because they were elected because people said they were from the slum. They knew the hardship, they knew the suffering, but they are not living as though they do. So my last word is, mend that bridge or you will lose 2023 badly.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. So. Thank you, Professor. You know, I like Professor Zauro. He can be calm and smiling, and his defense for his party is always genuine. You can see that he means good, but he knows the truth. So he can say, I will say the mean good part. The truth, I will hold it in my heart and let it point. The Labour Progressive, that's the guy. But man, look, so you should be bringing the Labour Progressive on the show. I let him to treat you. Have a good night and happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you so much. Okay, so who wants to go first?
I'm always going for let him go first so I can hammer him when he finishes.
Just make sure you keep all of us on board. Don't be cutting people off.
You're 1 minute feeling now, so it's
what do you mean? What you see that? Look, Mr. So that new year, man. Okay, let's go on. Okay. All right. No, on a very serious note.
Missing Totan, you know, I understand. Totan far away.
Mr. So, I told you I was born in Totan in a village. So that thing come with me. But let me say something here very quickly, since we still have our audience that are following us. Folks, those of you that are following us, we appreciate you joining us and listening to us. That doesn't mean that you don't have nothing to do. But when we come on this platform and face the camera, when we make our point, we don't expect you to accept it and run with it. Let's respect each other. None of us here have any kinds of corrupt behavior in us, because we've been doing this thing here for more than a month now. If we were corrupt, these things would come out very quickly. A professor, he's a professor. He teaches people. That means not only is he teaching on a blackboard, but he also impacting the people with character. So is Pat George. So is Mr. Saul. But for you to come on the platform and try to degrade people because you disagree with them, then I question your ability to be intellectually involved. Do you have the ability to intellectually engage? Because if you do, you will not insult people. You will not question people's character. You will go to the issue and have the discussion. So I just want to say this to the public. Let us be mindful that what we do here, we're doing this so that we all can engage each other and have an opportunity to have conversation. So there's no reason to come on these kinds of platforms and insult people. We have not used any kind of insulting word tonight or degrading word tonight. We've been here for more than 2 hours. You think we know how to curse? And we all can curse. But what would be the reason? If we do that, then what's the essence of having that kind of discussion? So I just want to say that. Professor Zauro, Pat George, Mr. Macy, thank you guys very much. Mr. So, you too. Thank you too. But we the group that getting your position going, you have to appreciate us and make sure that whenever we call you, for example, I might be calling you tomorrow so to say, Mr. So, I need X, Y, and Z. You have to send it to me. Because why? I'm keeping your day job going. Thank you very much, and folks. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Happy New Year. And please stay safe. Thank you very much.
Pat George.
Yeah.
You remember the last time I said the guy, he just gave after January 1st. So let him talk so he wants to talk. After January 1st, when he appear here, look at be him. Okay, Professor Zauro.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Mr. So. Thank you very much, Mr. Mason. Thank you, the Liberal Progressive, and thank you very much, Mr. George. Look, The Liberal Progressive, thank you very much for the comment. I know your comments were referencing the person who said I was corrupt. But look, thanks for saying, making that clarification. I have thick skin, and that's why I'm one of the very few citizens who will go on any show. In fact, I have tons of shows that are CDC friendly, that I shy away from to come on platforms that are either neutral or anti-CDC, because my views are my views. And I respect the ascension, and I respect people who disagree with me, but I have my views, and I would never be afraid of communicating what I feel and what I believe and what I know is true. It's unfortunate that some people will, go to this extent to try to disparage and denigrate people's character, but it doesn't move me, because you know what, like you indicated, we've contributed to society. We contribute to society in meaningful ways. And about a year ago, I received a communication from a former student who lives in Norway. It's not a Liberian, who was shocked to see some of the things that people write on my Facebook page, and was wondering whether there's anything I have done that merited, whether I have changed from the person he knew. And I told him, I said, look, go and read everything I've posted on my Facebook page and see whether it gives people any reason to make the kind of statement they make about me. And he did the job. He went on and came back and said, Professor, I don't get it. Why are they so negative towards you like that? That's fine. That's what we do. That's the kind of thing, that's the business we put ourselves in, politics. So people will disagree and say all those kind of things. When we make mistake, we'll be very quick to say that we made a mistake. I made a mistake tonight. I misspoke to Mr. Gay, and I will restate again. I apologize to you, Mr. Gay. You were a brilliant contributor to our discussion tonight. To bring you on to participate in the studio, I would recommend to Mr. Soy that he will bring you on, and we can have a very frank exchange of view. So, we can share ideas on how we can move our country forward. Thank you very much again. Happy New Year to the audience up there. Thank you for all that you do to support LPR. And we hope that this year we all can work together to make LPR better and continue to engage our people, in these kind of ways. Thank you very much again.
Okay, guys. Much all has been said. Yeah, Gay, I told him all he needs to do, it doesn't require anything. Reach out. At least he and ANC and Liberty Party can pull. So when it comes on, we make sure we're keeping distance from Samson Toe, so that they can't clash.
And one last thing, Mr. Toe. One thing I want you to create a show on democracy within the opposition in Liberia. So let's come and talk about why they don't have primaries, why the leader decided that the daughter must run, why somebody would just stand up there and say, I'm not going to be. Yeah.
Are you speaking the executive tone now? Are you talking to the guy above you there? Because he
I'm just telling you what you should do, because so we have opportunity to put them center stage. I think you keep putting this on center stage.
Let me do something before you go. Let me put you side by side here. You spoil a man all night. You talk about that one day. You spoil your whole night.
Professor Zao, you're right. Because I started to ask the question. I'm hearing this. I continue to hear they say Joseph Boakai never been corrupt. But then the question I asked, if you say Boakai is not corrupt, is Aaron corrupt? If you say Aaron is corrupt, why are you saying Boakai is not corrupt? So, Professor, that's true talk. So we can go deeper into the opposition to see what is happening there.
That's right.
Look. Let me just say there very quickly, Mr. So, whatever show you want to get, I'm ready.
We are out of time now, something. So we gotta.
You see, that's exactly what I'm talking about, folks. Now he's going to take me off, having had the opportunity for the two gentlemen to take my party and myself through the cleaner. Now I'm trying to respond. He says he's out of time. You see what I've been going through? But no, this is what I'm going to say. Liberian people, we are lucky. You seize Benedict Ure daughter for over an hour. She was in danger, and he kept quiet. He didn't say anything. This is a blessed country. Professor Sauer, whatever conversation you're ready, you want to have, bring it on. The liberal
interesting. I tried to still verify to validate that. I think she spoke recently or made a comment on the local, but I always like to get the information handy. I think she frowned on within the CCP the language, their tone of communication, that she could potentially, if it continues, if they can have that sort of dialogue. So we're going to see whether that holds. So I've been asking this guy to bring his political leader, Nyobi Kanga. I have invited all of them. When you ask for
please, before you go. Hold on 1 minute. Let me just point this out. Go on Facebook and see who are wishing Prophet Key happy birthday. And some of the things they're saying, you will be surprised.
Can you tell us?
Well, some people are saying, and of course, comical, of course, but they're saying that happy birthday, Prophet Key, and they're asking other Liberians, if you don't wish Prophet Key happy birthday, he will give you a beautiful new year starting tomorrow.
Well, he who rides the back of an alligator eventually enters the belly of the alligator. So, that's it. Let him do what he can do. Well, Clement, I want to thank you so much. That's how we're going to conclude it. We say happy New Year. Thank you for everything. And by the way, something to Professor Zawlo and Monday, very interesting. Somebody were asking, Senator Marshall Dennis will be breaking silence. He will be appearing here. Remember, Marshall Dennis is a strong ally of CDC, but he did not also support CDC candidate. He has submitted some reports to all. He has, his involvement. He's one of the person. I don't know whether this guy or his people in the Senate. Do you got your people can make report? Something.
Every year.
Hey, in a month, report. I mean, something rated. I have Dennis, I think almost 4 or 5 years.
Oh, because you don't have the copy in your head does not mean she doesn't make report. A political leader, the president of our party, always makes report. Not only does she make report, she has a mobile clinic for the people of Grand Bassa County.
Is it make report named about mobile clinic?
You get
some of the things she's involved in.
Yeah, but what accountability? We want to see accountability. We want to see accountability, not because you got clean, but we want to see how that money was used. How it was dispersed.
I think I like your
money, Professor, money. The woman will pay. What do you mean? How she was used?
She took about now 10,000 for what 9 years as well.
Yeah, 15,000
money. The Liberian people say will pay you. They pay her. What are you crying for?
No, we want transparency.
I think that's a very good idea.
Money. As long the money come from the bank and go to her, what she does with her money, I ain't your business.
No, it's not that. You cannot live above your
means. In the Vanguard,
and how they living.
Pa George,
yeah.
I'm hearing the Vanguard. She's keeping close eyes on the vice presidency come 2023.
Of course.
Yeah.
She's intelligent. She's capable. She's have the ability to lead.
Kumi say you want to be vice president. Joseph Barker want to be president.
Let me need a conversation. I think you're starting something that I don't want to be part of.
No, Mr. So this time we'll put the opposition under the microscope here this year, because we're not going to sit down and make the same mistake again. We're going to examine all these people. That boy guy, they say he's not corrupt. This boy, this coming. We're going to put everybody in the microscope. Nobody will be obligated.
I'm more concerned about Buckeye performance than his corrupt accountability.
Where are you coming from with that?
Are we more concerned about Buckeye? Are we more concerned about Buckeye's ability to perform? That guy spent 40 years in government.
Oh, he's running campaign already.
Folks, 40 years.
Government is on the campaign trail right now.
So I would love to know. Usually I'm very concerned about his performance than his corruption. I think the more important thing is to see. Buckeye ran LPMC at the time they were buying the products from the farmers and selling about 3 times the product on the world market, but they could not afford papers in their offices. for the people to do their work.
But then, Professor, those are fall in the category of exaggeration.
I can show you the report. The work is working.
My only fear, his neighbor, right? Where he used to, where he, lives. The people said they got a relay because the old man and I was selling coal. Boyka's wife too was selling it. So they said, as a result, their market was going. So as a result, when the Boyka left out of the politics, I think they said their market started boosting. So that's one of the protests they are planning against him. So that because when he gets back,
if you keep a man, a car, if you keep a good car, racing car in a garage, how do you expect the car to perform?
No, Mr. To,
Bring the car out, put it on the road, and see if it's going to perform or not. So let us don't speculate. Let's give this man the opportunity to see what he can do for Liberia.
I'm not speculating.
Speculating, please.
You're not supporting your own account. Why you going
when all that money was pumped into Liberia, he did not say. I mean, in fact, he said it. He said they scrambled. The miss. It was a missed opportunity. So all that benefit he got from the office. If people are saying that Ellen Johnson is corrupt and he got the same benefit as vice president, all the time, what did he do when he saw that thing wasn't right?
Mikey, he was in a garage. But George, he was parking in the garage. So that's all I can tell you.
Mikey, please ask your liberal here. I don't know whether he was Unity Party now. Which party, where you really belong, my man? Which party you really affiliating with?
This is how I see the opposition in order to flog CDC once again. Dr. Bakai, Honorable Cummings, next, and then our leader, political leader of Liberty Party, becomes president pro tem. And then in the House of Representatives, opposition go and take out Baba Chima, who is somebody else. We kick him out, and we're in control of the entire apparatus. We will be in control of the executive. We will be in control of the legislation. We will let you guys have the Supreme Court because your man was there. That's fine. We don't want to touch it right now. And once that happens, you will see the movement of Liberia moving upward. It's not going to be like what we have now. President singing song all day. That Dr. Joseph Walker going to go sing song. We're going to sing you singing. You know, you got time for that. He wants to make sure they to build.
So, Mr. To, you tell me you want to bring back Ellen Johnson Sirleaf? Is that what you're telling me?
Let me bust your bubble, Mr. Joyce, conservative Joyce. Let me bust your bubble. They say Ellen Johnson. They say Joseph Baker. Why are you going to bring the name are not
That's
the
same party. That's the same party.
But the man was packed in.
We had 12 years.
He was packed in the garage.
This guy
the economy of Liberia, 12 years. 12 years, they had an opportunity to move that country forward. And we're going to cross-examine this whole record,
Mr. George,
look, guys, I don't know
why we're trying to engage in this conversation now. Let's wait till Mr. So put the discussion up when we have the time to go through it. You're trying to kill the Labour Progressive before the war even starts.
But I just wanted to say one thing. I want to say one thing to Labour Progressive.
Yet, when we come to that, when we come to that day discussion, we will be.
You know what? I will not announce it because if they announce it, he will not show up. I know this guy very well. He will not show up. So you will tell me in the project. I don't
want to be like my chairman Molu. I don't want to swear.
Whenever you guys ready, anytime you're ready, bring it on. And out. You know who else I might bring on my side? The people you're afraid of? All of you guys afraid of? George Lobo.
Oh, bring it.
Come on.
Let me tell you something. Mr. Cummings will never run a second to Mr. Boyka. Take it from me.
Of course, I know that. He can't do it.
He would never run. Look, I work. I don't want to bring certain things outside. But I was involved with conversations with the ANC. There's absolutely no way Cummings would play second to anybody in Liberia. I'll leave it right there.
Yeah,
That's
we
what.
gotta look. We gotta look at it, and because I don't even know what his political future holds. The guy when he would end up when he end up being like Al Gore, he cannot even deliver his counter in the consequential senatorial base. So what's his base? He can if people
He
can
doesn't
win.
have an opinion. He doesn't have an opinion on basic issues like the TRC. He doesn't have an opinion on it.
I'm not about ready to engage you guys on this subject matter right now. So just go ahead and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, let's leave it there.
The liberal progressive is part of the program.
Okay, so guys, we're not going to start this overall. We got to cut it off. But like I said, I'm going to forward the email, Senator Marshall Dennis. I will be hosting 4 o'clock. I don't know whose favor is really going to work. But the message he sent me, I'm going to forward that so that you guys can go. But 4 o'clock, I'm going to be hosting on Monday, 4 p.m., which will be 9 p.m. Liberia time. And I really have interest why he never also lifted the hands of his fellow seditious. In fact, he 2017, he was the chair of the CDC, but it looked like there's some sort of friction now. So CDC Professor, you got a lot to do. You get a lot of witness reaching out. You got to do. I don't know what time y'all get to get that thing together, but whatever it is.
Time is against us. I said time is against us. We have to work very fast.
The man said CDC lied to, and he always showed one time. He said that when you ask him the budget surplus, he said that thing that you're more talk.
All right. Okay, guys. Everybody have a pleasant evening, and thank you for being here.
You.
Our follow-ups. We want to thank you so much. Yeah, we got to focus on every time government. We got to focus on this opposition too, because that's how the CDC was scrutinized, and we are in where we're in today.
No,
so the 15 and 11 Rainbow Coalition people that are putting together, somebody can even contest for paramount chieftaincy election. They can win. All of them want to be senator, want to be representative. We need to look at them and see what they really bring into the table. All right, guys, have a pleasant evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, folks, that's how we're going to leave it. This is a beautiful song by Minister Abina Johnson. It's a Liberian gospel artist based in the UK. The song is First Samalia Hodata. That's a New Year song. So let's just give you this, and now we're going to be wrapping up. Thank you for keeping up our time, and I always follow us. I go to our LRB Messenger page. You can write your suggestions. You can send your critique, whatever you think you can, as to how we can do it differently. Send a message. If there are issues you want for us to talk about, we are open to that. That's why we are. We try to take a holistic approach. The political process in Liberia, it also has ties with social issue. And so there are a lot of things that factor in to get us to be where we are. So we have to discuss all of those issues. Guys, thank you so much, Mikey, and all of the other folks. Thank you so much, and have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
And walk in God's wisdom, you will be safe. Happy New Year. Happy New Year for my in-law. You know it's coming.
Did I cut this off here? Why did I do that? Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. I hit the wrong. I make a wrong click. Let me see here if I able to get it back. Oh my goodness, I can't get it again. Okay, here we are. Let me just get it here. Let me get it here.
Corona time, no meeting face to face. Uncle, happy New Year. Happy New Year for my in-law. You know it's Corona time, no meeting face to face. I say happy New Year. Happy New Year for my in-law. You know it's Corona time, no meeting face to face. No meeting face to face. No again, no shaking. No meeting face to face. No meeting face to face. No again, no shaking. No
well, folks, that's how we're gonna do it. So let's take you to Nigeria as we wrap it up here by Monique.
Jesus, now you there is there is nobody like you. I show a salute. Daddy, no one like you. Oh, before you, when me I am set all over the world and I found nobody like you. Red and morning star, only you I serve. Every day I will pour my love for you. That's why when I wake in the morning I sing my praise to you. In the night, oh, now you are the call, now you the rain, now you, I so salute, Daddy, no one like you. Oh,
Welcome to Fiber Queen of Woodland. Everyone that's looking for a nice African for wedding, whatever fiber you need, you can just come over here. You have all this nice stuff. If you need ashebi, you guys can come over here for baby shower, for wedding. You guys are welcome. She had really nice stuff. You can see all over there, all those men over here. You don't have to go to the theater and then they're going to be telling you all kind of stories. You can just come here. They're already made. And for ladies, you can just look for whatever fiber you're looking for and match it for the men. And, your husband already have a shirt made. You can get stuff for your kids. You can get stuff for the whole family. We have African slippers and ashobi hand ties all over. We have different kinds of lists and everything. So you guys are welcome, okay? It's really nice. It's Fiber Queen on Woodland, 6695 off of Woodland. 6625 Woodland Avenue, okay? So you guys are welcome, 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 welcome. You have nice stuff here for ladies, for men, for kids, and for everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Fabric Queen of Philadelphia. Fabric Queen of Philadelphia is 100% African-owned business. At Fabric Queen, we are specialized in high quality wax product, Swiss lace, jewelry, and beauty products that will make you shine like the queen of fabrics. We are located at 6625 on Woodland Avenue, 10 Philadelphia. Telephone number 215-800-0228. Tell the management of Fabrics Queens in Philadelphia is easy and salt of the Liberia Public Radio gives you this message. Tell all Akwaba.